Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
I was trying to do that.
Got you.
Cut my dang mic off.
It's something that I try not to tell you because I like you to be surprised. Yeah, I gotta mix it up.
We back.
We're like an old married couple now.
Yes.
Where I have to do things to surprise you because you've kind of like seen it all.
I kiss your cheeks at night.
Well, you know, at least I'm asleep and I can't tell. What is up, everybody? It is your boy. It's Konkon. Back at it again. And this week, we have a special guest. Sitting across from me, the PR man himself, the man of 1,000 names.
I can't even say Travis now.
No, you can't.
Justin. Just regular old Justin.
It's just regular old Justin. And sitting diagonally from me.
Travis.
Yep, it's Travis Butler. Travis, tell the people do you have an Instagram?
I do. I believe it's man. You know, you got me there.
I got you on that. We usually
English Tea, I believe.
English Tea.
At
all right.
English Tea, I think you can find me.
We try to have people, you know, kind of give their somewhere where they can find you. Where can the people find you? You are in our Facebook group.
Correct. I am on the Facebook.
Yes.
You can catch me there. I mean, I'm on the Twitter feed.
Man, yeah, I got some things about Twitter, man. That site is special. Very, very special. But Travis, you are a talented man and you made something for us, and I'm bringing that up right now. Do you want to tell the people about
now our most prized possession?
Yeah, seriously. So thank you for giving. When people come, they bring stuff for the shelf. Okay, so we've taken some toys down, we've moved some stuff around. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a permanent resident.
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, this isn't going to get moved around because the thing about this is this goes with all Star Wars.
Yes.
So tell the people about this.
So this is one of my newest creations I started playing with. It is actually a mini helmet. So it's going to be the classic Star Wars Stormtrooper mini helmet from the original series, and it's actually on a spike as depicted in Navarro, in the rough streets of Navarro.
This is my favorite thing ever.
So it's I wouldn't say it's a decapitated. I didn't want to go that dark, but you can see that the material from the Stormtrooper's outfit is still dangling from the helmet. I
got some innards in there.
Got something
got
in
some
there.
Innards.
Don't look in the helmet.
Don't look in there. Don't look in there. We're gonna keep that a secret. You know, the man, he's already lost his family. Everybody's sad. Look, they've moved past it. Okay, you can't look in the helmet.
No.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You do sell these.
Correct, I do.
Yes. And where can people find them?
Man, if you can find them, they're actually going to be super limited edition. So, meaning I'm actually just trying to keep up with the supply and demand. I'm actually already on at least 5-person wait list right now. But nice. You can actually you can go onto my Instagram, which is going to be English Tea. It's ENGLISH T.
English
Tea.
Yes.
English Tea. So we're going to do that, and then or you can DM me directly off of Facebook if you're on the book face at Travis Butler. You can look for me.
Travis Butler, look for him. Dude, seriously, thank you. This is super cool. And you do have a life-size one.
Yes.
As well. You got to send us a picture of that, or put it in the Facebook group at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I definitely will. My wife hates it. It's in my office, my little studio that I have. And I'm going to say studio. It's not as nice as this. Not a recording studio, but more of a crafting art studio.
That might be the best part about it, is that the wife hates it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of angst with the art.
It gives a glimmer into my eye.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time she sees me bringing another box.
Yeah. Well, you share that with your action figures.
Yes.
Luckily, my wife, she loves Star Wars. I mean, she's not in depth like we are, but she does enjoy the Star Wars. So, she puts up with the stuff, so I'm pretty lucky in that aspect. So yeah.
My wife.
She likes me to put on the Mando suit every once in a while. I'm not gonna lie, you know.
Well, you gotta make some guacamole when you want guacamole. I almost opened this. I'm so anxious to open it.
Hang out. Here we go. Housekeeping. You know we have to get into it. All social media, guys, especially YouTube. Seriously. YouTube is something that we've started doing now, bringing this show to you, not only audio, but visually as well. It is super important. Konkon's Cantina at the following social medias: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, where we are most active. If you would like to work with us and this podcast, please reach out to us via email at konkonscantina@gmail.com. We also have our Facebook group, which is popping every single day, and the Discord, which I think has become our underground, our covert, our Mando covert is our Discord for sure. And the way that you're going to get that is via the Linktree link in all of our social media. How you can support this podcast. Please like, share. We are discovered via mostly word of mouth and the 5-star rating.
And
now,
hilarious iTunes reviews.
Yes, we
also
do.
Our favorite.
Yeah, if you're gonna write a review, it's not warranted. You don't have to, but try to make it funny because we read them all.
And also insult us in the reviews because that makes my heart happy.
Yeah, we like to make fun of each other, so it's part of the thing. It's part of what we do. We do have Patreon. If a little bit more support is warranted by you, we would greatly appreciate it. We do try to bring a nice product. Microphones, our boards. Right now, we're trying to get new DSLRs so that we can not do webcams anymore, and so that we can have 1080p, 60 frames a second all the way around.
Also trying to get a new supercharger, so
make Justin rich. That is the point of the Patreon. Guys, the agenda of this podcast. Very first and foremost, you already know when we have a new guest, Travis will be telling us his Star Wars saga. Yes. What got him into Star Wars, and really just nerddom, as we were talking. A lot of nerd fandom and stuff like that, which I'm super excited. Super excited about. And then the Mandalorian Season 2 recap. Thank you for being patient with us. We had delayed this episode, but we're taking a different approach with this episode.
Trying to switch it up, not do the same thing that you already heard once.
Yep. We are going to be doing this not chronologically, but via character. So we'll be talking about Season 2 as a whole through the POV and character descriptions of the people that participated in Mandalorian Season 2.
Favorite moments, favorite episodes, things we loved or hated.
Yep, all that kind of stuff. Guys, you already know. We are a Cantina podcast. So we're going to get into it right now.
I'm so ready for this beer.
I have to open this.
Welcome to Konkon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
Justin, I'm going to let you go first because I haven't gotten into this one yet.
Shut up so I can do the sound.
Okay.
There it is. There she is.
That was a good pop.
So this is a beer.
Wait.
Oh, are you going to do yours? Mine doesn't do that.
What? It will a little bit.
Okay.
Prove
me wrong.
There we go.
God dang it. So this is a beer that I've talked about on the show, and I've told the story of how it literally obliterated me without knowing that it was happening. It's the original craft beer. Yeah, this is the original craft beer.
Yeah.
This, Blue Moon, and Sam Adams, the original craft beer.
Yeah.
It says St. Bernardus Abt 12, ABT 12. I still don't know which way you say it. It's a Belgian 10%er where it'll knock your shoes off without you even realizing that you had it until you stand up to go pee, which is what happened to me.
Yes.
I'm going to pour this out right now because it has been way too long.
It's pretty great across the board when you have something new and you're sitting at somewhere like a World of Beer and you start drinking. You think you're okay, and then it's like you said, you get up to go to the bathroom, and the world reminds you that's not the case.
Yeah.
It's a very deceptive game when you have to stand up. The color of this is awesome. It's so rich, and it's so dark. Like, you can't see through this. You hold a light to it, you can't see through it.
That's the point. It's a Belgian quad. It's a beautiful Abbey ale. They're actually used to be brewed by a famous brewery, actually super expensive and super rare, called West Vliteren. And the monks left there and started brewing their own beer, and that's where St. Bernardus came from.
Shout out to Travis for
I know,
all the facts.
Dude, where are you at? My man's got the whole dissertation, and you brought this beer.
To be fair, he works on a podcast.
True.
He's done this once or twice.
Yeah, he knows.
I used to sell this beer before I was in podcast. I used to
podman.
Before I was a podman, I used to be a beerman.
That's a great name.
And I used to sell high-end European beers.
Where'd you work at when you were doing that?
It was a distributor, and
Okay.
It was called Microman, and they've since dissolved and been absorbed by another large, great company called Cavalier.
Quads and triples are some of my favorite beers. Like, I always go for a hazy IPA, a sour, or when I'm in a real good mood, I'll go for the quad or the triple, and they're some of my favorite. Just the flavor profile is so full and so different from having an IPA.
Yeah.
It, like, checks all those marks, and you don't necessarily have to drink 6 of them like you do with an IPA. Like, you can chill on a night and have 2 or 3 of these, and like
they
you
evolve
can just
over
coast.
time.
Yeah,
it just gets better as it opens up. So
yeah, even as it gets warmer, it doesn't have to
Correct.
be, because a lot of those they're designed to be drank at cellar temp, not refrigerator temp.
And European beer usually is warmer, served warmer.
Typically, yeah, they are served a little bit warmer, but I mean, not all beers. You know, it can vary. So I've been to a few English pubs, and if it's a cask ale, they'll pump the beer up, and that's served kind of like room temperature, slightly chilled still, because it is cooler down in those cellars. And when they're like 600 years old, you have like stalactites. It's
I think they're
climate control,
cooler
but
than
not-
we are here anyway. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to burp. I'm regretting this decision.
There it
I'm like,
That's what Belgian yeast does to me as well.
yeah.
Yeah. I think all alcohol does that to us. But
I don't know if you saw it, but one of our listeners edited
oh my gosh, we'll show
just
you
me
after.
and Connor like burping off mic.
Yeah,
Being like-
yeah, exactly. Because we drink when we're recording, and
Yeah.
sometimes you're in the middle of a great character study information, and you're just like, yeah. Anyway,
When it hits you, it hits you.
It hits. Yeah,
Beer does that.
Mando score.
Dude, I give this a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
I don't know.
I agree for sure. It's really
It's
good.
it's got the potency. It's
Woo.
got the flavor. It's got the price point is not bad. This is like a bomber bottle. It was I think it was like $11.99.
Yeah, that's not
somewhere
bad
in
at
that
all.
in that range, and it's delicious. And it's not something that you're gonna ever just get tired of drinking. I mean, you could get knocked on the floor drinking it, but this is a flavor for me that I don't get tired of.
Yeah.
Travis is drinking something delicious and unique.
Super crisp. It's actually Alpine Fresh Members Mark. It's a super limited edition purified water. It's
Sam's,
lovely.
if you would like to sponsor us and this podcast,
Mineral enhanced.
you are.
So you
I
know
do
it's
minerals.
good.
You are participating in sober January.
Dry
A
January.
little dry January.
Dry
Just,
January. Yeah.
Just trying to clean it up.
Yeah.
Little self detox without inserting too much into me. Yeah.
Can we do that, or are we legally?
Uh-oh.
Are we legally binded by the podcast now?
I am not drinking during the week anymore.
Gotcha. Air quotes.
I'm not drinking it during the week anymore. But podcast, I cheat. I told Liz that I'm still going to drink on the podcast. I have to.
We're legally binded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Justin, did you have wine on the podcast before? I can't remember.
I've almost done it 3 times, and every time you slap it out of my hands.
I did. I had to go wine this time. Now, I'm not a big red wine fan, nor white wine. Anything wine, I'm not a fan.
Oh, I thought you didn't have a glass. You just drinking.
No, it's over here. It's over here. So what I'm drinking right now is the Cast and Barrel. This is their Red House blend, and that is usually what I go for with red wines. I don't like
red
dry,
blend.
and I don't like overly sweet. So the blend for me is a nice middle ground. Red wine just always messes me up. It
I
makes
love
me
me
go to
some
the
red
bathroom.
wine.
I wake up with a head. Literally, I'll have 2 sips, and in the morning I'll wake up with a headache. I don't. What is it?
Sulfates will mess with some people regardless of how much you drink. It's nothing to do with how much. It's just
Yeah.
the sulfates will just get you.
Yeah, so I'm going to be taking it easy on this one. This is from California. This is 2017. The reason why I bought it, it was on sale. It was $13.99, and it's aged in bourbon barrel. But I taste absolutely none of that. I don't know if I'm not cued into the wine game at all, and I'm not tasting it. Obviously, the bourbon barrel and the bourbon in general, me and you are pretty keyed in on, and I'm not getting any of that. But I mean, it's pretty good.
anything
Pretty
on
good.
anything on the nose? Like sometimes it's not so much on the palate,
So-
but maybe in the nose.
I just had a sip of it, and it has that immediate right on your, like you were just
can
saying,
smell
right
it.
on the nose. It has a more alcohol flavor rather than a wine flavor when it touches your tongue and you get that first little bit.
It smells like red wine.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
It's not in
I
your
have the
face.
worst nose when it comes to
One
smelling
of
wines.
my favorite wines, if you're doing a bourbon barrel, it's one called 1,000 Stories, which it's about $20 a bottle. But that's got a great blend. I believe it is a Syrah with the bourbon barrel aged, but it has like that awesome bourbon flavor perfectly melded with wine. I strongly recommend that if you like red wine. I am a
Yeah.
huge red wine fan. Whenever my wife has her girls over, they call me Justina because I come bum all their wine.
Yeah. I mean, it's all right. I'm not a wine person. I'd like to get more into it. I feel like I need to have somebody that understands wine explain it to me more, like what I'm looking for. Same thing happened with, well, I kind of dove headfirst into bourbon, but a lot of my friends were already drinking bourbons and scotches. I mean, it's good. Yeah. 6 out of 10, I guess. The price point, it's not expensive.
Yeah, that's a good price point.
Yeah, and I think retail, or I mean, not on sale. It was $15.99, so $2 off. I mean, so even then, I think it's pretty good.
If I'm drinking red wine, I like a nice Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
Now,
And
what
then-
is it? What is it about the Pinot? Because
It's a little sweeter.
little, I find it a little lighter on the palate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as boozy, if you
Uh-huh.
will. You know, I'm not looking for that when I'm drinking wine. I kind of just want to settle in and have it complement my food or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or cheese. My wife and I do a lot of wine and cheese.
Yes.
And we don't even drink a lot of red wine anymore. I'm more of a Sauvignon Blanc, and specifically New Zealand from
is that
Marlborough County.
is that drier?
It's gonna be a little drier. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
they're not sweet, or I forgot. There's a technical term for sweet. You don't want to sweet's an insult to wine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My wife has been on the Chardonnay kick game lately, but specifically as like the butteriest Chardonnays that she can find for her day drinking. I use air quotes there because she drinks it anytime. But
Anytime, yeah.
that,
Duckhorn Chardonnay is super buttery.
yeah, I like
try
that. It's a unique flavor because I always was for some reason mentally blocked against white wine. I thought it was not gonna ever be good.
Yeah.
But that buttery. Oh my God, I feel a burp coming up.
You're
There it
good.
is.
There it is.
The buttery Chardonnay. I should not be drinking this beer.
You're good.
God, it's already happening. Niles is gonna have a field day.
Yeah, he is.
But the buttery Chardonnay is super good during the day, especially in the afternoon. Like it's crisp, especially by the pool. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
And this
great
is
because it
the-
gets you salivating, man. The
Yeah.
Chardonnays will get you wanting to eat.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of those. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the end of Winecast.
Listen, drinking is always fun, but let's
Winecast
get
has been completed.
down to business. Okay, Travis, tell us.
Yes.
Listen, let's get. You're Justin for tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Travis, tell us your Star Wars saga. Tell us what brought you to Star Wars in particular, and then of course feel free to branch off on any nerdom, fandom,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Wow, that's a deep one. So I would say what brought me into Star Wars, man. I feel like I was born into it because my earliest, it's not even an earliest memory of mine. It's an earliest memory that I've been told. We saw Return of the Jedi in the theater in England when I was out there. I was born in 1981, so I was very young. I was 3 years old, but I had my older brother. He's 2 years older than I am, so he was 5 years old, and they took him, and just by default, I was probably with them. So I don't remember the movie, but from my earliest memories are watching VHS bootlegs or playing with boatloads of toys. I still have
yeah.
all my Star Wars toys. We never got rid
Yeah.
of any of them. So I have every single figure from the 70s and 80s still. AT-ATs, walkers. I have speeder bikes that disassemble, that you can blow them up, and I have everything. It's so cool, and I feel so lucky and blessed by having it all because my dad and my parents never let us play with them because they assumed that they were going to be worth something.
Yeah.
They were out of the box.
Shout out to their foresight.
I know, right?
I wish I
knew.
had that foresight.
Yeah, they
I
knew.
sold mine for 10 cents.
Yeah.
Right. I think we would go when I would go to England. That's where I was born over there, but we'd go over there every few years, and we would go to like boot sales, which are garage sales, and we would just buy up like little Star Wars figures and like little baggies. My nan would take me, and we would, 10 pence, we'd get a couple figures, and
Yeah.
they'd be all in dodge condition, but we would get them, and we just I have them all, and
yeah.
that's what's probably what kept me in the Star Wars is just refinding all that when I think it was like 94 95
They started
when
reissuing
when they
the
started
same things,
reissuing
yeah.
the same things, and
Yeah.
that kind of reinvigorated it. It was right when I started getting a computer, and
It was with the release of the special edition VHS.
correct where
Yep.
they kind of butchered it a little bit. Some spot.
I still have my OGs. That's one of my happiest things that why is my daughter FaceTiming me? It's one of my happiest things that like I got from that I still have from my dad is his straight up like original release, original artwork, all the VHS tapes that
Yeah.
I straight up wore out. I love having that
Fat
old,
Man
original
Jabba,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. Some of the. So back in England, how long were you there before you came over here?
See, yeah, we immigrated in 1984, so I was
Okay.
over there for a little over
Dang, you
almost 4
immigrated
years.
right before I was born. So old.
So we
Wait, you calling him old?
He's like just a little bit older. He's so old.
So old.
I feel old. It's hit me. My mornings are so rough now.
Yeah, that's what we
So
were
rough.
talking about
goes
before. It's like
downhill quick.
you sleep wrong one night and it's just like it's GG's in the chat. You're done.
Yeah. Shoulder's done. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's done. It's falling apart now. I broke my toe just stretching the other day.
So back to nerdum.
True story.
What else? Did you really?
Kind of.
That's the actual embarrassing story.
That's one of them.
So besides Star Wars, I mean, we were talking tons of stuff.
Yeah, I've been into everything. My older brother was always into sports, and I was the polar opposite of my older brother. My older brother's blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm dark features. I was a little tubby boy, and I loved everything from Ninja Turtles, Conan, Willow. I got into everything. Anything that was fantasy, anything can kind of drive my creativity and drive my imagination wild. I played a lot by myself, if you will. You know,
Right.
like my older brother would dart off and play sports games, and I was always just chilling by
Left
myself.
to your own devices.
Yeah, exactly. So I really loved everything like that. Any kind of cartoon I was really big into. Silverhawks, everything crazy cartoons back in the 80s.
I don't remember Silverhawks.
I think that's what they're called. I don't remember. I mean,
Thundercats.
Voltron. Voltron was good. I like Voltron. But yeah. So that's really what it was. Saturday morning cartoons. It kind of kept me in the nerd area. I guess you would say it. I mean, I say that with I embrace it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Two things. One thing was we just had like a Saturday morning cartoon thread in Facebook. And then also on Twitter, they were talking about like when somebody calls you a nerd, like, what is it? And I'm like, it's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
You know,
it's funny because like 15 years ago, it wasn't a badge of honor, and it's slowly shifted, and now it's like, I remember the day, I'm sure you guys do, like, you could not find a Star Wars or Marvel t-shirt.
Yeah.
I remember not at Walmart.
I remember
or Target
I was 16, so it had to be like 99, 2000, somewhere in that little window. And like Hot Topic at that point had this Marvel shirt that had like every hero on it.
Yeah.
And I freaked out and I bought it. Everywhere I wore it, like all the other kids my age were like, holy crap, where did you get that?
Yeah.
You can't walk into a Walmart Five Below. Five Below now is like full of everything.
There's Five Below has the best Star Wars shirts.
Like the nerd
Seriously.
moniker
Really?
has shifted so hard
Yeah.
into being popular. And I like it, and then I also don't like it.
Pop culture almost like went through a transition where it was the James Bonds and the action stars, the Brad Pitts,
Terminator.
Knight Rider, Terminator, and then the superhero era came along, and then that reinvigorated Star Wars and just fantasy in general.
Was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that too.
It's kind of like when the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and X-Men.
And Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was right before Spider-Man, Peter Jackson's movies, same thing.
That pulled a lot of nerds out of the closet. They were like, I didn't know I liked this.
Yeah,
do I
exactly.
like Dungeons and Dragons? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I didn't realize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it sound, me and Justin weren't there. My mom, she saw A New Hope when she was a kid. Her dad brought her. I had the VHS tapes before the re-releases. I wish I still had them. I still have my special edition currently, but my newest kind of saga style thing is my wife's grandfather. He just gave me his original vinyls.
Oh.
So 76 actually. A New Hope vinyl came out before the movie. So 76 and then 80 and then 83 for the three vinyls. That's really the only old stuff that I have. I have a couple of the Kenner toys, but they're not anything to write home about.
I want to buy the laser discs. It's like
that's
a
like
big
the next
thing
thing.
in my head. Like, I'm gonna buy the laser discs.
Yeah, new laser disc stuff.
I feel like they're gonna be worth like an insane amount of money in like another 10 years.
It's like vinyl's kind of coming back.
Oh yeah, like cassette tapes are coming back.
Yeah.
I thought that's weird. I was like, no, that's not even like the best quality of the music.
No, it's
like,
not.
Like, this is not convenient nor good quality.
And I think they go bad easier and more often than vinyl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cassette tapes coming back will single-handedly bring number 2 pencils back, so you can fix your tape. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're all gonna have pocket protectors and like carry around it. Yeah, it's all that stuff. Mandalorian season 2. Now, real quick, I liked Mandalorian season 1 better. I can officially say it. I liked
After rewatching
it.
Okay.
I liked season 1 better than season 2. I still like season 2. Season 2 is a banger.
I said the same thing like a week ago. I rewatched / listened to all of season 2 again. I like season 2 better. I like season 1's season finale better than season 2. The season as a whole, season 2 I like better, but just the finale of season 1 was way better than season 2's finale. That's my opinion.
Ooh, that's like picking between your two favorite kids.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with this.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the shock and just the mind blowing of the opening first episode, I think that's what kind of. So I have a soft spot for season 1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Personally,
first episode is
it's just jaw dropping. It was so amazing, and then I was like, oh my god, this is how it's going to be.
That's still my favorite episode of all of the episodes. Is season 1, episode 1.
And I feel and it's like that unknown, and luckily we kind of got some unknowns in season 2, and we're definitely going to get into those things.
Yeah.
But I think too of like people that hate on the prequel so much, but there's so much that we had never seen via
that's
Star
all
Wars in the
reversed.
prequel. Yeah,
That's
now
all
it's all
like-
reversed. Yeah. The way that we're going to do this recap, as we had stated earlier, is we're actually going to be going through character by character and talking about the character, what we liked about the character. I have a lot, excuse me, I have a lot of detailed notes as far as character descriptions, where they appeared, who they're played by, and then we're all going to bounce off of each other, what we liked about the character, what we didn't like about the character, just so that you guys know this is the people that we're going to be talking about. First and foremost, we'll be talking about Cobb Vanth, Cara Dune, the Frog Lady, Pella Moto. I almost said Beef Karga. Grief
Chubbs. Our
Grief
boy
Karga,
Chubbs.
a.k.a. Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, Moff Gideon, Finnick Shand, Boba Fett,
Up in them cyborg guts.
Miggs Mayfeld, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, Grogu, and, of course, Din Djarin, our Mandalorian.
Dodo Din.
Dodo Din. But
Sloth, as I call him.
we are going to kick this right off with Cobb Vanth. Okay, so Cobb Vanth.
Called
Now,
it.
Justin called this one. Cobb Vanth, he's as seen in the Aftermath series. Do you read any of the Star Wars books?
No, but I need to get into them. So.
Yeah.
Dude, Audible subscription is worth.
We are waiting for the sponsorship. We pitch Audible
Dude,
every.
it's worth every penny.
It really is. We can talk about Audible later, but yeah, the Star Wars books in particular, it's literally an audio drama, sound effects, music,
Really?
character voices. It's really, really worth it. So the first appearance of Cobb Vanth was in the Aftermath series.
Interludes.
In the second book, Life Debt, and the third book, Empire's End. We then saw him in Mandalorian Chapter 9, The Marshal, and then he was indirectly mentioned in Chapter 10, The Passenger, and then once again in Chapter 14, he was indirectly mentioned.
So what I find funny is my two favorite episodes of this entire series are Season 1, Episode 1, and Season 2, Episode 1. Mm-hmm. I think that they've managed to, like, knock out of the park opening episodes.
Yeah.
Like, we already talked briefly about the Season 1, but we'll focus on Season 2. Just the whole, like, the immediate, like, suspense that you have waiting a year up to this.
Yeah.
The rumors of, like, is it Boba Fett? It's not Boba Fett. There's no way they'll bring Boba Fett.
We see
Maybe
Timothy
it is.
Oliphant, and it's
then
not,
you
yeah.
immediately, like, cut to the door scene, and it slides open, and there's freaking Boba Fett's armor right there. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, and then it's not even Boba Fett. Like, it was such a great opening episode.
Yeah.
And the whole Krayt Dragon, like, being brought back into canon, like, everything about this episode was next level for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. Like the opening scene where you flipped open, you saw Boba's armor.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And
There's
Din's
no
like,
way.
what? And when he takes the helmet off, you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
What are we doing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love that though. Everything just kept me in so much suspense. Like you just are wanting so much more from that episode. And
Timothy Oliphant too. Him in Justified is easily like one of my favorite cowboys, right? So to see him be a space cowboy, to see him be Boba Fett, but he's his own character. He's Cobb Vanth. I just think he played it really well. And in this episode in particular, we get some of his backstory, and I'm going to read a little bit of his character description here. So Cobb Vanth is also known as the Marshal. He was a human male who lived during the Galactic Civil War and subsequent New Republic era. Once he was a slave, and he rose and became the sheriff of Mos Pelgo, a small city on the planet of Tatooine. He despised the Red Key Rider faction, which was a syndicate that attempted to establish itself on the planet. Immediately after following the Battle of Endor, Vanth fled into the desert following the takeover of Mos Pelgo by the Mining Collective. He then encountered some Jawas and traded a cantono of crystals for Mandalorian armor to return to retake his city. So that was obviously the backstory that he told,
Yeah.
And that's where he got the armor from the Jawa. Now, in the book, this is
a
told
little different,
It's a little
yeah.
bit different in the book,
But and I think we said that this could be just the same equivalent of somebody telling their own story versus the guy that was the other person in that story telling it from their point of view.
yeah,
So what I told you was true.
yeah, from a certain
point of view.
Exactly. For me, he was 10 out of 10.
yeah,
I don't know that the casting could have been any better. I can't think of any. Like, I could give you a couple more
Sam
castings.
Witwer, confirmed.
Sam Witwer cameo. I can't tell you anybody that I would have rather have seen than Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah, no, he was perfect.
Yeah, there was so much about their first interaction, like you said, when they're sitting down for the spatchka. He takes off his helmet. They have their little dialogue back and forth. I liked that.
We're doing this right here. We're doing this now.
In front of the kid, he's seen a lot worse.
Yeah, he's seen worse.
Yeah. he was a cowboy, and I mean that's what Star Wars is, right? Samurais and cowboys.
Absolutely.
I mean, everything about him I liked. I have more to read, but you guys have any more thoughts?
He looked a little wonky in the armor, but
Yes.
I liked that there was like literally a reason, like it's not built for him.
Yeah.
And it looked goofy. As we were talking about the Boba Fett helmet from Black Series.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right frame for it or the right head size or whatever, it looks goofy on you.
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like on him. Like it wasn't his armor. It's like a weird small subtlety that I liked.
So some other detail key points for the canon timeline. This is 9 ABY. So this is after the
9
battle
years
of
after the Death Star blown it up. The second one.
The second Death Star. The quote that Cobb said to Din that we kind of talked about a little bit. I've never met a real Mandalorian. I've heard the stories. I know you're good at killing, and you're probably not too happy to see me wearing this armor. So I figure one of us isn't walking out of here. But then I see this little guy, and I think maybe I pegged you wrong.
Look at you.
Pretty good. That was
You're reading like a goddamn 8th grader.
Listen, my,
Eighth grade reading
my comprehension's going up. Okay. Now I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I practiced that. Okay, because that's like that scene is so cool, right? Like,
Screw you, F-cats.
Yeah, and he sold it. He sold it. I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about him riding his speeder, which was
Oh my god.
no doubtably Anakin's pod racer.
We hold true to that it's Anakin's pod racer.
Yeah.
The similarities were too tight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
too-
has to be. Now,
Somebody could have
canonly,
rattle canned a little bit of a different color onto there in that many years, but that engine was, if you look at the pod racing scene, every single pod racer vastly different from each other. There were not similarities to each pod racer, which lends you to believe they're all hand built. They're custom. They're like a custom motorcycle, for lack of better terms. They're not like a factory built
Choppa.
thing.
well,
Like
this
it has
one,
to be.
this one in particular, is made by a manufacturer.
Like what I said was completely worthless. Disregard.
It was Anakin's actual
God
pod
dang,
racer. The
freaking
engines.
Wikipedia Connor
Sorry,
over here.
yeah, sorry, man. His engines were, but what you did say is right. Is that he did make it his own, and the way that Anakin made it his own is his fins were painted, and also the heat exhaust. The airflow, which we see Anakin do in
When he does
episode
the
1.
jump.
Well, when Boba flashes his vents and his pod racer catches on fire, he closes the air ducts to keep air from flowing through the engine to stop the fire. Those were painted red. So everything from the manufacturer is gunmetal.
Wait, so you're saying his only customization is spray paint?
Yes. Well, and his cockpit, his custom chassis, and that was made by him. But the engines were actually made by a manufacturer. The point is it's definitely his because of the paint scheme. Nobody would have done that. That was specific to Anakin and Shmi Skywalker. Those colors represented him himself and also Watto's junkyard. That's just a whole thing. It was definitely his.
I don't think it's been confirmed, but our headcanon says confirmed.
Our headcanon says
Sam
confirmed.
Witwer confirmed to me
He
personally.
called. He called and let us know.
I don't know if you've seen this, Travis, but Sam Witwer left me a video message. So
Justin's pretty popular. He's talked to Timothy Zahn now,
I
who's
have talked to him.
a very popular Star Wars writer. He's
He's
coming
like,
on the
will
podcast.
you be on our podcast? He messages me back, no.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. Tell them. Okay, no, that's not what he said. He literally said, we messaged him and we were like, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast. We're a Star Wars podcast. And he said, I can't right now. I'm too busy writing my next book. No joke, 2 days later, the announcement of his next book.
Really?
So yeah, he didn't BS us. Look, he's coming on. Okay, once his schedule
He's my
clears
boy.
up.
Give him a little time.
Yeah,
It's
he
coming.
needs-
It's
yeah.
coming.
Me and Tim.
Listen,
I like this.
you and Tim. Yeah, you're right there. The interactions between Din and Boba, I really appreciated as the episode went on. They
Din
started.
and Boba. We jumping to Boba?
Oh, sorry. Din and Vanth.
Okay.
They played with each other really well. I liked,
Mutual respect between the two.
and I liked the humanization of Cobb protecting his town and not wanting to work with the Sand people.
Which is exactly like Din. Like, he cannot not protect the weaker person. Like, that's
Yeah.
like, we've established that in his character. Like, he has to step in and help and protect. I think, obviously, because of what happened to him as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be what that whole personality trait is. But if somebody is in trouble, he'll step in.
Yeah. The bartender, too, when Din asked him about a Mandalorian, he said, he looks like me. And he said, you mean the Marshal? And the reason for that is we pointed out the belt buckle that Cobb Vanth is wearing the white and the red stripes is actual representation of a New Republic marshal that we later see Kara, who's the next character we're going to be talking about. She's also given a Republic Phoenix star that has the same pattern on it. It is a marshal. So he took a big responsibility to protect that town, and I would have wanted to see more of him. I would have liked to have seen Din go back and
I think
pick
he's
him
going to
up.
be in that. He thinks he's going to be in one of the new shows for sure. He's too big of a name.
Even,
and his
maybe
character's
animated.
too likable. No, I'm thinking of the what is it? New
Ranger?
Republic Rangers
The
or
Ranger
something
one,
like
yeah,
that. I
could
think
be.
he's going to be a character in there.
I think so too.
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
All right, so he gets the stamp of approval from all of us.
Yeah.
10 out of 10
Approved.
for me.
Yeah, no, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Like him.
Cara Dune, played by Gina Carano.
Acting 2 out of 2. Hotness 8 out of 10.
Listen,
Concurred.
she was so much better in season 1.
Yeah.
The acting was better in season 1. Now, I'm going to get to a scene in season 2 that I think she killed it.
Was it one where she didn't talk?
No, she actually talks.
okay.
But she sells it with her face. She did good.
never
Matt,
seen
the
it.
camping comedian, did it the best. Matt says that, correct me if I'm wrong the way Matt said it, she's too eager.
I'm in
It's
the
like-
hospital. I have gallstones.
Matt is dying. No.
That's what he
Matt explained the way that Gina's acting is portrayed is she's always like hanging on the
Eager.
yeah, she's too eager. She's there just waiting for her line. Like, oh, this is my time. This is it.
Yeah.
You know, and she hasn't, she's been in Deadpool.
Well, she's an MMA fighter. Like, give her a
Give her a
little-
break. Which luckily
Imagine Seth acting.
Exactly. A couple kicks to the head, you might be a little. Yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, exactly. But at least that MMA background I think brought a lot to the show.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
Oh, yeah.
she does
the
looks
physicality.
natural.
Yeah.
Oh,
unparalleled.
she's a beefcake. She,
Yeah.
I mean, the friend,
I
the
love
whole
She's a beefcake. Listen, total beefcake.
manhandling people with a rifle was
Yeah,
awesome.
she is.
Sorry to jump in.
Oh no, appearances. So chapter 12 took 3 episodes for us to get into this season to finally see her again, which was a little surprising because she was so integral. Well, she came up season 4 and then she was a part of the rest of season 1. So same thing, she was kind of halfway in season 2. Chapter 14, 15, and 16 is where she showed up. Quote, "According to our records, you're quite the soldier. We could really use somebody like you. I'm no joiner, Blue." Now this was
Angry Appa.
Angry Appa. Kim's Convenience. It's such a good show.
Dude, have you watched that show?
Which one?
Kim's Convenience?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Oh, if you haven't watched that,
It's
it's
that-
literally the best show
it's
ever.
the Asian New Republic X-wing fighter pilot.
the bigger old guy.
Yeah, he has his own show where him and his
They own
family
a convenience store
in Toronto,
Canada.
and it's
It's
just
okay.
a sitcom. It's
Amazing.
yeah, just
It's
watch it.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's worth it.
And also, their son in that show is in the new Inhumans for Marvel coming
Yes.
out. So
Okay.
that's like a Star Wars character and a Marvel character.
Let's get some background here on Cara Dune. Cara Dune was a human female who was from Alderaan, who served as a shock trooper in the Alliance to restore the Republic and the New Republic during the acts of the Galactic Civil War. She is a seasoned warrior, and she is an intimidating brawler, and she's a crack shot with a blaster. By 9 ABY, Dua
Lipe.
Dune had put her days in the military and discipline behind her and started to operate as a mercenary. After spending some time on planet Sorgan, she met the bounty hunter Din Djarin, and she then became his companion and worked with him with a short time, but soon they departed Sorgan. Eventually, Din enlisted her and returned with him to Navarro to destroy the remaining Imperial remnant. After their mission, Dune stayed on Navarro to work with the former employer of Din Djarin, Grief Karga, and she was eventually Beef Karga. Thank you for correcting me. And she was eventually assigned as the Marshal of Navarro by the New Republic.
I want to like her so much.
I do too.
Yeah.
We can talk about it. Have you seen the hatred for her online?
Yeah, yeah.
Because of
I've
her
seen her
political
following.
I
stance.
saw she posted an interview today, literally today, that she's like, it's good to hear from my own mouth and not third person. I haven't read it because I wasn't that interested to read it.
Yeah.
But she has gone through a lot of craziness on social media.
I guess we talked about this on our last episode with Anthony too, with Rural Farm Boy. And one thing that he said that I really liked is he completely separates the character from the actor and the actress. That's something that I tend to do too. But when something is so loud, it's kind of hard to block out all the noise. I don't particularly care what your beliefs are. if you're not like locked up in prison and whatnot, like clearly you
didn't molest kids or rape people. Like,
you're doing enough. That's right. I don't know that I would ever recast Cara Dune as another person. When we get season 3 of Mando, I could care less if she's in it. She didn't do anything for me this season.
She could fade away, and you just kind of.
It's like I wanted to like her, but she's not been a super interesting character this season at all.
Yeah.
Do you think possibly maybe her voice or her off camera kind of antics may have written her into a smaller role?
I saw an article that says, I take this all back because I just remembered it was from We Got This Covered, so
yeah,
don't even bring it up.
Yeah. I say no, and the reason why I say no is because Mark Hamill is just as vocal on the complete opposite. So much so that I've literally had to, like, when I go to Twitter, I'm looking for Star Wars news and pop culture news. If I want the political this and the political that, I'll go to Facebook or whatever, right? Like
I go to Death Star PR.
It comes up so much that I'm sick of it, and seeing people like this talk about it nonstop, it gets super annoying. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I can see how it could. Yeah. I can see how it could. Yeah. But the thing is like the weird thing is when people talk about Gina and her beliefs, I'm like, you guys don't know what Dave Filoni believes. You guys don't know what Jon Favreau believes.
And thank God we don't.
And see, when people kind of put their self out there, you reap what you sow. Mm-hmm. Like you can believe what you believe, but if you're kind of putting it out there for the masses, yeah.
She's a good character.
Yeah,
she has great. See, she's had great moments.
She has an integral part in the season.
She's had great moments. Like in season 1 where she's dragging Din back into, I guess it was a cantina or it was a whatever.
It was our we're here right now. Yeah. It was the cantina.
Dragging us back into the studio.
Yeah.
Like moments like that, she's an awesome character. The moments where she's like she has a connection with the child / Grogu. And
the Force choke scene, season 1.
Yeah.
Let's get into season 2 though, but continue.
But like I'm saying, she's had great moments. Mm-hmm. This season she struggled, which I don't know where the reason is.
She might have had to be written less because of her acting ability and nothing to do with her. All this stuff was recorded before all of her Twitter nonsense happened.
Yeah. And she did have some good moments in the season. Like she had some laugh out loud moments, like with her when she was trying to like what happened? Her heavy blaster started jamming. Yeah. In the oh my God, why am I not remembering the name of that episode? Where they're coming out with Fennec and everybody, and
the last episode.
Gun is her gun is jamming. Yeah. Like there's enjoyable parts. Whenever it gets to an action scene, she thrives.
Yeah.
She had one good at the very end of that episode with Angry Appa. Like she was quiet. She didn't feel too eager to talk. She portrayed emotion very well with her face and without talking. Mm-hmm. It's whenever she gets into a lot of dialogue that she starts to like drift away from being interesting.
One thing that she did in season 2 that was just super integral to the entire plot is Dune takes her credentials now that she is a New Republic marshal, and they go to the Corthon chop fields. Now this is where Migs Mayfield is.
I was like, I can't do this. Okay.
Yeah, she just types it up, finds him. They go there. She then uses her credentials to convince a security droid that they must relinquish Mayfield to their custody. They then use Mayfield to travel to the planet Morak, where they get the coordinates to Moff Gideon. Super integral. Mm-hmm. So without her, none of that would have been possible. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess we could have had like another not sting operation, but smash
covert.
And grab.
Yeah,
smash and grab covert. They could have gotten him other ways.
Season 1, The Prisoner.
This was a lot easier, and this led to my personal favorite.
We're talking about Mayfield now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Still Cara. My personal favorite moment with Cara is when they're traveling to Moff Gideon's light cruiser, and they have to steal the Lana class shuttle. So when they get aboard the Lana class shuttle,
that's another great moment for her. Yeah,
they get on and they are attacking the Imperial shuttle, and on this shuttle is Dr. Pershing, a scientist affiliated with Gideon's remnant.
Camino trooper or Camino scientist, whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm. As they get into the cockpit, the co-pilot then takes Dr. Pershing hostage, and this is where we get that amazing dialogue between...
One of her few well-acted, shining moments, yeah.
Yeah, so she starts... You can see it on her face. Like, that's where the acting comes in. She's warning the pilot to stop talking about Alderaan, and even he kills it in this scene. Mm-hmm. Like, I could talk about him, but that was my favorite moment with her in the whole season. Does anybody else have I know you liked the gun jamming moment.
There's not that many to pick.
I know
from.
they're really.
Yeah.
She's not in this as much as season one. I mean, but that moment in particular where she's going back and forth with the Alderaan stuff is really, really good.
When she's really angry is her best part. You know, what I mean, if it's just like dialogue back and forth, you're kind of like But when she's actually using her brute force, which she's known for, that's where she excels. Like her shooting.
I think too, she has some good looks. Like I'm thinking of like she can smolder at somebody. Well, like when they're on Morak and they pick up I just got it. No. All right, right back with it. Okay, yeah. When they're in the Slave One for the first time and they just picked up Miggs and she's like looking at him because like she sees him as trash, whatever the case may be. He's ex-Imperial, all this stuff. She can sell some stuff pretty well, but yeah, I think she's lackluster. If she doesn't show up in season 3, I'm okay.
She's got a good scowl.
Yeah.
Shh, don't talk.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me as a character.
This season,
you think that's high?
That's generous.
You think that's generous?
I'm leaning more towards it. I mean, I would go 6.
I would say middle of the road, 5. Like
I go 7 because I still think that she played a integral role.
That's why I give her 6.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm on the high end. That's fine. That's fine.
Last season, I felt much more interesting. This season, I felt like she was more like, oh, you guys like her? Here's a couple things to make her important. Not that that's what it was, but like she wasn't as interesting to me this season.
One thing that I have written down here, which was actually pretty nice, is they do a really good job, but you do have to pay attention for her character development. And the way that this character development comes in is she has a huge change from Cara season 1 to season 2. And the reason for that is in season 1, episode 4, when we're introduced to the character for the first time, she explains to Din that she is afraid of the New Republic. And the reason why she's afraid of the New Republic is because she is an ex-rebel shock trooper. So being a deserter is just as bad as being an Imperial. So she'd be thrown in jail, basically. Later in season 2, in the last episode, she explains to Din and everybody aboard the Landa-class shuttle that Dune wanted Gideon alive so that he could face New Republic judiciary. So that's a complete turnaround where she's afraid of the New Republic, and now not only is she working for the New Republic, but she's trying to bring further justice for the New Republic. I mean, it's decent. At least we're
wrong.
Right or wrong.
Right her wrong. To right her wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, for abandoning. I mean,
exactly.
Still not the best. And here's the biggest question I think me and you both have, Justin. She's a shock trooper.
I was going to say what cup size, but that's different.
Yeah, completely different. I don't know how much spatchka she actually enjoys. Skills and abilities. We'll talk about skills and abilities briefly, then this leads us into that question. Once again, she is a shock trooper. That is basically a special ops for the rebellion. As we talked about earlier, she's very highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat. We see her fight Din Djarin in season 1, episode 4.
Took him out.
It was a standoff.
Dead even match, yeah.
Dead even match.
One punch to the head took him to the ground.
Headbutt. Oh no, it was she punches him in the head, and he goes straight down. She's also fighting the huge male Zabrak. And bests
with the
him.
laser handcuffs.
Yep.
That they had.
Later in season 1, she's also arm wrestling Din, and they're completely tied. So she's obviously very strong, and she's obviously cracked with a blaster. She's very, very skilled. How does she not know Luke Skywalker?
Don't bring that up.
She's a rebel shock trooper.
Drives me insane.
Like, she would literally answer to, I don't know, somebody like Commander Skywalker.
Well, she left after the second Death Star was destroyed, which means she knows the generals in charge.
Yes. Luke was literally a commander in...
Maybe she was just stationed somewhere weird and, I don't know.
That's a good point. There were different factions.
It is true, but every government in wartime...
Like across the galaxy, there's got to be a...
But every government, especially in wartime, has their own propaganda, and just like we know the Imperials had theirs, the Rebels had theirs just as much. There's no way that they've brought back a Jedi, and we now have a Jedi who's destroyed not 1 but 2 Death Stars.
Or helped. Yeah.
He's brought down the shields to destroy the entire second Death Star, plus destroyed the first one.
Han Solo did that, but continue.
Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm he's fully in
he's high ranking in the rebellion military, and it makes no sense for her not to know.
First Jedi in decades,
and she didn't know what the Force was in season 1. And what do all rebels say?
May the Force be with you. Literally, Din says it to the 2 X-Wing pilots.
Makes no sense. Frog
She's
lady.
A liar.
She's
Frog
a
lady.
Frog lady. Man, we spent a lot of time on Kara.
Well,
She didn't deserve it. Frog Lady. Frog Lady deserves
get
it.
it.
Listen, I liked Frog Lady, voiced by Bradley D. Baker, who has voiced tons of Star Wars stuff, including animated stuff, and she's also acted by Misty Rosa. Misty is the same person who did Quill in season 1. Her first appearance, surprisingly, is not season 2. It's actually season 1. She is in episode 5, Gunslinger. In season 1, she's in the Cantina when Din meets Toro for the first time.
Unliked character in all of the in all the series.
Her appearances later continue in Chapter 10, The Passenger, and then later in Chapter 11, The Harris. Quote, these eggs are the last...
Don't say the H.
What?
It's not Harris. It's the heiress.
That's what did I say?
You said the hairy ass.
That's not what I said. That's not what it... Anyway, quote, these eggs are the last of my life cycle. My husband has risked his life to carve an existence for us, and I am on the only planet that is hospitable for our species. We fought too hard and suffered too much to resign ourselves to extinction of our family line. I must demand that you return the true end of the deal that you agreed to, Frog Lady to Din Djarin.
This is in Zero's voice.
Yes.
From, what's his name from IT Crowd?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually something that's pointed out.
Droid.
How did you feel about Frog Lady, both of you?
Man, she's a fighter, trying to save her old bloodline. I kind of had a little soft spot for her. She just wants to preserve and keep it going. She wants to meet up with her husband or her mate, I guess, and just kind of get the hell out of the bad area.
I liked the weird practical puppet effects.
Yes.
Like bringing more of that back into Star Wars.
The whole Jim Henson kind of puppets. I love that.
Another thing too is she's one of the... She reminds me of Chewbacca as far as she's a sentient species that can't speak basic.
Mm-hmm.
So she's there cognizant, like this species is no doubt capable of using the Force if they're born Force sensitive, and she can't speak English, right? She can't speak basic. I appreciated that. One thing that's cool is obviously we go through we go through snack time with Baby Yoda and Frog Lady. As far as what she added to the story, when they escape Maldo Crest, which is the ice planet, it's actually the first planet we see in The Mandalorian. That's the same planet that they're on in season 1, episode 1. So full circle, we're actually back to that planet. After they leave there and they get to the ocean moon planet, when they land, we have that touching moment where Frog Lady sees her husband and they start squealing at each other.
Frog Man.
Use
his names.
And Frog Woman. And Frog Lady, I got touched up with that. Like, that choked me up a little bit. Like, how in the world did they make me care about some...
Walking at each other from, like, across the pier.
It says yelling in frog in the subtitles. Like, it's just so weird. Not like a right home character, but... We had our concerns about her because we spent so much time with her in episode 2 of the second season. We were like, oh my, how long is she going to be around? Like, they need to wrap this up quick.
100%.
And then we had the craziness that happened in chapter 13, and then we don't see her again. But she was an okay character.
I liked her.
Yeah, 6 out of 10 for me.
I liked her more rewatching the season than I did waiting week by week for the episode.
Yes.
I liked her a lot more after the fact.
I'd give her 4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, she didn't add a lot, but
it was a nice little story arc. Kept it a little interesting. Put a little tension and entertainment with Grogu, kind of dipping into the eggs.
She fed Grogu,
and she had some drama too surrounding her on Twitter. Did you see all that stuff?
Oh yes,
dude, this was super real. A lot of women took a lot of
insemination and
angst and a lot of things about Grogu eating the eggs. About this is something that happens in real life.
Fake outrage. My gosh, it's silly.
It is silly, and I
too deep into it.
Yeah, it's a TV show. It's made for enjoyment. I actually got into it. It was not an argument. Some people would say it was. It wasn't. I was talking to somebody on YouTube actually about this, and I was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna make this real. Let's make this real." Frogs can lay like up to 1,000 eggs at a time, and literally the amount of those eggs. So only like 30 out of 1,000 will mature enough to turn into a tadpole cycle, so that's 3%, and then only 1% of that 3% will see full maturity into a frog. That's way worse rates than human life.
Just feed Grogu.
Exactly, just feed Grogu. That was the point.
Give him his eggy brekkie.
My dude needed eggy. Okay. Pelimoto If you guys do not give Pelly a 10 out of 10, Pelly is the mechanic girl.
I know.
From Tatooine.
Wicked Fro.
She has the wicked fro. She is paid by Amy Sendaris. Sendaris?
You got the paper in front of you.
Well, you know I can't read. It's Sedaris. Sedaris? I want to say Sudeikis, but that's one of the stormtroopers. I just want to say her. Her appearances, Chapter 5, Chapter 9, and then Chapter 10. Not a lot to go into as far as detail with Pelly. Pelly was a huge bit of comic relief.
Yeah, she's good comic relief.
Yeah, I liked the character. I would have liked to have seen her kind of reprise that role that Quill had. I would have liked to have seen her board the crest and kind of go with the crew and be the shopkeep, the mechanic.
She's anti Pelly. She loves that Grogu.
Yeah, she loves little Grogu. I like that she almost really became a mom figure, especially in season 1. She was super happy to see Grogu again in season 2.
A nanny.
Yeah. You said something about grandma, I'm assuming, earlier when you were talking.
Nan,
Nan. That's what it was. Yeah, and that's what it was. I mean, she was motherly. I enjoyed the character. She was really human-like. When we think of Star Wars,
It's because she was a human.
stop.
Okay.
Like human-like as far as like, I feel like we all know a Pelly. I don't feel like we all know a Din Djarin. We don't all know a Luke Skywalker.
You're crazy, like not emotional, like crazy, like lovey aunt character, or like friend of one of your parents' friends that's like, oh, come here, sweetie.
Somebody you know from work who always says we should get a drink, but you never do.
Yeah,
there you go. That's Pelly. That pretty much wraps it up for me. Like I said, with her, she saves the Razor Crest. She fixes the Razor Crest in season 1. She then again fuels it up. I know, dude. You know, we should have done a whole thing about the Razor Crest, but we talk about that for hours. Rip the Razor Crest. You know, she's famous for her pit droid crew that costs her a lot of money. We saw those in The Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. It's nice to see a continuation of Star Wars continuity. She also has the same R5 unit that we see in A New Hope that has the bad motivator. And she also has the same tread. We also see that on the Skywalker farm in the original trilogy. So she was used for a lot of like nostalgia and a lot of things that we'd already seen before, but still
nostalgia, I enjoyed the continuity.
Yeah. I still enjoyed the character. I would have liked to have seen more of her. I think she was really funny. I could have gotten more of her for sure. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know. She was good. She had a little bit
good,
of comic
not
relief.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
For me.
Almost like a frog lady. You know,
almost like a frog. Yeah. So for me, I'll go 6 out of 10 for her. Would have liked. Man, am I high again? I say 6 out of 10, and Travis is like.
I like the fact of having like non-main characters, but brought back as reoccurring characters. It lends itself to being more world building. Mm-hmm. To have like these non-important people, but you keep seeing them like when they're in a specific development. I like that factor of it. I don't think she specifically has much to add, but I like that it's enjoyable as a viewer to see.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, when they do have these smaller characters that just keep reoccurring, it almost it's almost disappointing though, because the galaxy's so big. You know, it makes it seem that the galaxy's so small. You know, I mean, I get it. You know, these are recurring characters, but you know, there could have been other people.
Where do you land on that? Because Justin doesn't like it when Star Wars feels small. Do you? And you just literally touched on that. Seeing her again makes it feel small.
Correct.
Mando revisiting these same characters.
Dang, same planets.
Same planets,
exactly.
So is that good for you? Is that bad for you?
I wouldn't say good or bad. I mean, I would like to see it be bigger, you know, because it is bigger. There's so much out there. It's just like our galaxy.
Everything is drawn to Tatooine in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like,
and when
let's
I saw
move on.
When they went back to Tatooine, I was like, oh man, you know, there's more.
Yeah, you know? I agree. I agree. Beef Karga, a.k.a. Grief Karga.
Is it even worth talking about this season?
No, so this will be quick. Played by Carl Weathers. The only appearance he had was
Carl Weathers, played by Carl Weathers, directed by Carl Weathers, only existing by Carl Weathers.
Exactly. So he appeared in Chapter 12, The Siege. Now, we were very critical of that episode, but on rewatching,
still very
critical of the episode. It was a lot jam-packed into the episode. A little bit of why grief is important and what he actually did bring to this season, which I think is most important, not what they do in the episode, but he has an entire improving Navarro section where he allowed the Bounty Hunters Guild to once again help control Navarro, as far as they helped keep the scum and the villainy off of the planet. But he also used his succession as becoming the magistrate of the planet. He took control of it, operations of the planet. He turned it into respectable businesses. He brought back the market, and he also instituted a school for the children that we even saw baby Grogu attend. So once again, kind of like this humanity, the story building, this expansion that we see of the character.
He could have been left off
He
at
could have
that
been-
point. He didn't need to
yeah.
be further into the episode.
No. Once again, his episode. So I understand why he was in it further. So I guess that my question is, did we need more Grief Karga? And how did you feel about his episode now? Like, you know, when it came out, a lot of our listeners like really liked that episode. They put that as like their favorite. I don't know, you remember that. I mean, a lot of people are like, this is my favorite episode so far. We were really critical of it because we felt that Carl Weathers, as the director and the writer of the episode, tried to jam a lot
I
in
felt
there.
like he had a checklist of cool stuff he wanted in an episode.
Yeah.
And didn't care how he jammed it in there. Like, just wanted like
TIE fighter, speeder bikes.
Yes, like
Exactly.
I want all of these things in my episode,
Chase
and
scene.
I'll change whatever's written to force every single one of these cool little things into it.
Surprised Luke Skywalker didn't show up in that one.
Yeah,
For real. Yeah, exactly. Dave, get me Luke. Get me Luke. Did we need more of Grief Karga? No. I feel like he had such little presence that it was almost unnecessary.
He was a middleman.
He was a middleman.
yeah.
I did like the reintroduction of the Mithril. We wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for Grief Karga.
That was a cool throwback,
It
like
was a
to
cool
the very
throwback.
first episode that you didn't know what happened.
He was funny. Besides that, I don't have
When he
anything.
gassed himself, that was funny.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say about Grief. Anybody?
Nah.
Way better in season 1.
Yeah,
Way
he was
better
a way
in
more
season
interesting
1.
character in season 1.
Yeah, way more interesting.
I like him better as beef.
Beef. Yeah, well, Chubs and beef.
Chubs and beef. Yeah.
Beef Chubs.
Chubby beef,
Chubby beef.
Got weird.
Moff Gideon.
way better in season 1.
Dude, I think Moff Gideon is single-handedly my largest letdown in season 2. Personally. So, appearances is we first see Moff Gideon as a hologram in chapter 11. We see him again in chapter 12, chapter 14, 15, and then of course 16. Did we get enough of him to truly be the villain? That's been my biggest question since the beginning of season 2. Because season 1, I felt like we were leading up to this really big arc.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be like.
And was he overshadowed by the mention of Thrawn? Because
Personally,
that's what I
for
feel.
me, he was.
Yeah,
He immediately was like, okay, he's a puppet.
exactly.
Dismissed.
Almost a Captain Phasma treatment. I feel like it was
Yeah.
just like a hyped up role for nothing.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of scenario.
same thing with kind of like Snoke. Snoke
Yeah.
was awesome until he was killed, and then Palpatine comes back. And with Moff Gideon, I feel like he was super, super awesome. And then we get like, oh, Thrawn. We get the name drop, and I'm like, okay, this is all Thrawn. This is all Thrawn is somehow in a part of this, and he might not be, but that's how it made me feel.
Yeah.
So I think he was overshadowed. Excuse me. Let's talk. I'm going to talk real quick about his personality and his traits. How ruthless Moff Gideon really was. Quote from season 1. Did he just say that Moff Gideon killed his own men? Oh, who knows? You know how these guys like to lay down when they first arrive? They come into town, they flex on people. Those were to
The speeder
bikes in episode 1, season 1.
Jason Sudeikis.
Really, though, Moff Gideon was he was clever and he was formidable, right? He was able to infiltrate the ranks of Navarro with the mechanic to put the tracker on the crest. He instituted the creation of the Phase 3 troopers. And, of course, he's the plot driver to all of Mandalorian because he's...
Giancarlo Esposito can deliver some dang lines.
For sure.
He's a great villain.
Yeah.
I mean, from Breaking Bad to this, he's just a very notorious.
And when you say that, though, are you talking about him or Moff Gideon?
Yeah, see that's where I get it twisted. Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Los
is.
Pollos Hermanos.
Yeah, he's a great actor. Is it that he wasn't in this season enough? Is it that he didn't do enough?
I think that in the end of season 2, his dialogue that he delivers is just so memorable and so evil and just like burned
Menacing,
in,
yeah.
that you're expecting so much more. And you don't really see a lot of him. You see a hologram when he's on the cruiser before he like long live the Empire and they take the cruiser down. And then the next time you see him, he's got the Darksaber and he's randomly threatening a child with the Darksaber. And then it just gets weird after that point, especially like when he's laying on the ground with like a weird, crazy smile.
I was Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, do you think he's as powerful without the Darksaber? Because I think obviously he's such a big character and such a big actor. There's no way he's written out of this series. I think he's got to have some sort of reoccurring role that's going to happen later on.
Yeah, they keep. I always feel like if they keep somebody alive, there's more to be done with that character.
Correct.
I was expecting. This is something we talk about in season 1 a lot. The Night of a Thousand Tears, the Great Purge, the glassing. Now we have another canon term that's been brought back, the glassing of Mandalore. I was expecting how exactly Moff Gideon was tied, and I was expecting a story told by Moff Gideon, and maybe that's what led to the disappointment because I was expecting it. But even Din in season 1 says the only reason, or I know he's Moff Gideon, is because he knows my name. He's an ISB agent from the Empire. And that's, once again, back to his personality traits. Being an ISB officer for the Empire, we've talked about this via new canon in the books. We get an insight view of what these ISB agents are capable of, their mindset. He is supposed to be very villainous. I just, once again, I don't feel like he did enough in this season to be the main villain.
Nah.
But do we get more of him? Yes, I think that we will see him either face some sort of judicial stuff in the next season, or we get a mention or something. I don't think he's gone.
I don't think so. I think, like I said, they kept him alive for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether it's a small role or a big role, he's going to be for sure back.
Fennec Shan. Now, Fennec Shan, played by Ming-Na Wu. Her first appearances were in Chapter 5 in Gunslinger, and then, of course, Season 2 as the main focus, Chapter 14, 15, and 16. Now, Fennec, we're actually getting her in the Bad Batch. So this isn't the last that we're seeing her.
Prime Fennec.
Prime Fennec. This is during the events of...
Pre-Robot Guts.
Yes, pre-Robot Guts. Thank Boba for the Robot Guts. Fennec, I actually really liked her in this season. I thought that she brought a lot to the table. I think that she was action. Some of her action sequences were a little Power Ranger like, but she gets the job done. I don't, a lot of like female representation I know is important to people, and I don't care if you're male or female as long as the character delivers. Like, I don't see why that it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
and she was cool. She was saved by Boba Fett. She doesn't do a lot as far as dialogue. She doesn't bring a lot to the table.
She's got some cool action scenes.
Yeah.
Like in the last episode when she's moving through the cargo area, just like kind of Batman-esque, taking people out, stealth. She has some really good moments like that, but she doesn't. I like the way that she looks at Boba. The meme that they made, like, I just wish my wife looked at me the way Fennec looks at Boba.
Yeah, she's just sitting there like on the throne with spatchka in hand, and he's down there on the thing. Yeah. Some of her background is she was a female human assassin and also a mercenary who worked with many top crime syndicates. And after the New Republic locked up many of her employers, she went on the run and ended up on the planet Tatooine. Obviously, that's what led her to the events.
Everybody ends up, apparently.
Everybody ends up there. She was eventually discovered by the bounty hunter Boba Fett, of course, as we know, and he then saves her. She then joins up with Team Din Djarin, Team Mando, to help save baby Grogu. Some of her skills and abilities, she was a highly skilled mercenary, and some of her equipment, of course, is she used an MK sniper rifle and a throwing blade that was hidden inside the stock. Now, we never saw that.
That sounds pretty cool.
I know, right?
Did I blink and miss that?
I know. That's what I thought too. But this is the information it says. Now, the reason that we know that this is the MK is because Din Djarin says in Chapter 5 of Season 1, Sniper Bolt, only an MK modified rifle could have made that shot. So that was when he got shot in the Beskar when they were approaching her for the first time. The scene that we see her on Tython with Boba, our first real introduction to Boba, she was pretty BA in that episode. She takes out tons of stormtroopers, obviously showing her worth and, how she was. How did you guys feel about the mechanical guts?
I'd like to see a little bit more, a little bit more explanation.
Not flash more. Okay. Need some more skin.
I was kind of curious. I mean, how much of the guts, is it like,
yeah.
I want to see pull back the curtain a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I want to see a little bit more of that.
I
didn't realize that Boba was that capable of,
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
Is it Slave 1? How did he do it? I have no idea.
I have a lot of questions too.
Connections, bounty hunter connections.
Right.
I think that a lot of my questions to these characters go back to the episodes could have been longer, and we could have gotten more screen time.
Yeah.
Showtime, I think, is the biggest crutch of this show. I'm not a movie maker. I don't know where that comes from or why, but I feel like as compared to other newer shows like Game of Thrones have 60-minute episodes. Plenty of other Netflix shows have, even Stranger Things has 60-minute episodes. Why these were so short? We could have had
Some
more
were in the
time with characters.
30-minute, especially when you remove opening credits, ending credits. They're like not much runtime of actual
some
story.
were like 26.
Yeah.
26,
20,
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It's the first thing I looked when I saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, short one, honey.
Yeah, exactly. Fennec Shan, I mean, I think she's cool. That the female, she does not age at all. She's in her late 50s.
Black people and Asian people don't age.
Like, seriously, dude, she looks amazing for her age. I mean, her acrobatics, everything. I once again,
and
dialogue.
she's a Marvel crossover. She was in what's the Shield? Agents of Shield.
Is she?
Yeah, she's in that.
I didn't
know
even
that.
realize that. That's probably where it came from. Obviously, Marvel, Disney. I mean, not a far stretch. Character for me, 6 out of 10. I mean, it's a little bit lower for me. She was cool. You know, I can't believe that I put Kara above her now. Now I realize that my Kara rating was way too high. But yeah, I mean, she's 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, again, she's middle of the road. I think that she'll be a lot more interesting in both the before and after in Bad Batch and in Book of Boba Fett. I think she'll be a lot more interesting. I think this is a good introduction.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think, I think we'll see a little bit more with her with Book of Boba. And I would like to see a little bit more with her. But yeah, she's a quiet actress, you know, or quiet role. You know, it's kind of a nice pop up. You know, almost like you said, a Power Ranger kind of role. You know, when she was running on the cliffside,
on the
and
top,
spark
and the sparks.
flying
Yeah,
everywhere.
It was the sparks, man. I was like, this is.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
It's like we're mighty. We're transformed. It was
duct
weird.
taping sparklers to her shoes while she runs. You may as well just do that.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, she does almost take out like a whole battalion like by herself, though. I mean, you know, she was awesome.
In the same episode, Din is just kneeling back and forth, looking into space.
Yeah.
It's that gif with that white kid that you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he's just Boba Fett.
You
Now,
say
Justin,
this is me.
This is
Boba Fett.
Hey, you see, let me show you something.
This is one
me,
of my favorite
Boba Fett.
One of my favorite videos is where they do that, and then it cuts to the Galaxy's Edge him breakdancing. It's like, "Say this is me." And he's like,
I love when people go, "Let me see this is," and they change like the thing to like he's trying to show him a meme. Like, yeah, that was the best thing. Boba showed up in Chapter 5, Gunslinger. That was the rumor for the longest time. I said no. It ended up being Boba. Chapter 9, 14, 15, and 16. Played, of course, by Tamora Morrison. Boba Fett was one of the biggest surprises for me.
I did not want him in season 1. I'm like,
and
don't
both of us
bring Boba Fett into this, and they turned it around for me personally. The way they did it was so well done.
I noticed when Travis notices his posture because he'll be doing this and he'll go. It's like, oh, I'm a shrimp.
My wife's
like,
a chiropractor. If she were to ever see this, she'd be like, "Look at you, look at you,
look at you." You gotta sit up straight. You gotta put your chest out. It's like,
we're all like,
see, guys, this is
now I gotta readjust my microphone and not be lazy.
This is the YouTube thing that you're really missing out on. If you're not watching this on YouTube, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Boba Fett was a huge surprise. We were adamant we didn't want Boba.
Oh yeah, I was very
and he killed it.
Like, he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
He had besides EU books and stuff, like, nobody really knew his story, and he had like this mystery about him.
Yeah.
But I didn't want him thrown into the Mandalorian because I wanted the Mandalorian to be about the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But the way that they were able to like write it and craft it, I should have trusted in Dave Filoni. Like,
freaking genius.
He freaking knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
It was done so well, like down to him not even having his armor, and he's just wandering looking for his armor, to when he gets it and he's old dad bod Boba Fett and he's straight up gaffy stick smashing stormtroopers, obliterating their helmets. Like,
literally.
Like, it was everything that you wanted, because Boba Fett stood around, did nothing, and Luke Skywalker slapped him, kicked him into the Sarlacc pit, and he just screams with like the
he literally Willem
cliche,
screams.
Cliche Willem scream.
Yeah.
Most uneventful death ever. And like, they gave the character everything it was deserved, and like a way that I couldn't even I literally couldn't have imagined it because I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, I was a huge fan. I felt like a kid when you saw his Slave One shoot across the sky, and you're like, "Oh, that's it!" And you felt like
You heard it
the
first.
Leonardo DiCaprio meme. You're like, "Oh, that's it!" Like, yeah, you're.
Dude, that's the best meme of 2020.
I don't know.
It's gotta
The
be.
one with the
Oh wait, the Django Unchained. Yeah, that one's pretty good too.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah.
Sitting on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was super excited with that, and then just seeing him when he donned the armor when he took it right back off of Jin Shin.
How do you feel about the repaint?
I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it.
Me neither.
I didn't like it, but
It
Further-
canonically makes sense. Like I can see like
there's okay. So there's an explanation. So this is Boba's supposed to be Return of the Jedi Boba.
Mm-hmm.
These yellow in Mandalorian, this signifies revenge. When he repaints his armor, these are red, and that's courage, and that's remembering the fallen.
Okay.
So
and not to mention the difference between Empire Boba's color scheme and Return of
yeah, a lot of people don't realize that there's Empire Boba and Return Boba are literally completely different. If you look at them side by side, you see, but just watching movie to movie, you probably won't tell. But I didn't like the repaint at first either. But
my headcanon, when you were saying that, my headcanon was like, this guy, he's got his colors that he likes.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to his equivalent of, call it a Home Depot or Lowe's,
Yeah.
and buys
We gotta make a pit
He
stop.
buys the paint that's that color. If it's a couple shades different, it's going to be a couple shades different. He just redoes his color scheme. He doesn't care if it's like perfectly olive drab green or it's DuPont camo green. Like he just gets like, I like a dark green, a light green, a burgundy, and a gold.
and I did feel that the green was a little off, but once again, like I'm not going to nitpick it that much.
It makes sense if you think like he used what he has available. Because he's already not had the same thing every time you've seen him. It's been different every time you see him. So why should it be the same?
Yeah. So actually, I didn't even think about that. So I stand down.
I think Tamora absolutely killed it. Obviously, it could have been absolutely. There's only one other person it could have been.
Who else? could it
Daniel
have been?
Logan.
No, he's not going to be that.
He's not, but I'm saying
He's not
Daniel
the clone.
Logan is who played. Yeah, he's not, but Daniel Logan is who played Boba in Attack of the Clones.
Okay, the young boy.
The young boy. Flashback scene. I would love to see Daniel Logan reprise some role in Star Wars sometime.
If they,
Doing a live act, because we get a lot of Boba in the Clone Wars cartoon. So if you haven't watched Clone Wars, it's definitely worth it. There's a lot
teenage
of
angsty Boba.
yeah. His whole and I mean I have a ton that we're not going to get into, but we have a whole plot where Boba is solely going after Mace Windu for revenge of killing Jango. So much of Mando's version of Boba I like better. We get helmet off. We get so much of Tamara Morrison, and it to me if he would have had hair, it would have been too much Jango and Boba. But the fact that he was clean shaven and all that, I got a distinction between Jango and
And
Boba,
his
even though they
scarred
were the
up
same.
face, too.
Scarred up from a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Or getting out. Or
Getting out.
whatever.
What are your guys' headcanon story of how he lost his armor?
So of course, there's already a canon explanation.
Well, no, don't tell us. Don't tell us that. First.
Okay, I
Let's-
won't.
let's,
So I'll let you two go,
let's
and then
theorize and
yeah.
see how close we get.
Okay.
Gosh, I don't even know. I would say he somehow rocketed back out of the Sarlacc pit. Somehow maybe crash landed. Jawas found him, stripped it away.
I kind of think the same thing. I think that we see him
he was
get
found unconscious or something like that. and they
we
stripped
see him
away.
get rocketed into it from the desert land skiff, whatever you want to call it, the
Han
from Jabba's
Solo,
skiff.
Boba Fett, where? And he
Yeah, he
turns
hits
and he hits him with the gaffy
One
stick,
random button on or
which we saw
whatever
in
he
season
does.
episode 1
The
of
same-
the
yeah.
chapter. Yeah.
I think that he shed his arm. Like his armor is all tore up.
Yeah.
So I think he somehow shed his armor and sacrificed his armor to physically climb out or physically escape. That's what my guess is.
And then the Jawas somehow got it.
Because the Krayt Dragon kills the Sarlacc.
Okay, all right, yeah,
Yep.
boom. Bingo, bango, bongo.
And I think the reason why the armor looks as tattered as it does is because of the stomach acid of the Sarlacc. Because that's a talking point in Return of the Jedi. They talk about the Sarlacc pit digesting people over 1,000 years. They need stomach acid, obviously. There actually isn't a canon explanation. I was just kidding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it literally just says Fett survived his fall into the Sarlacc pit, though he was quickly separated from his armor, which was found by Jawas and later acquired by the Tatooine Sheriff Cobb Vamp. At some point, Fett acquired a gaffy stick and a cycle rifle, and through a number of rumors, his fate circulated. Fett was then presumed dead due to his fall into the Sarlacc pit, but later we find out that he survived. That's the only canon explanation. So I don't think we ever get an explanation.
I think that it has to be something like that because we got a canon explanation that this Krayt Dragon killed the only Sarlacc pit. Like, there's never been an abandoned Sarlacc pit. Only if the Krayt Dragon kills the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
I think that I'm giving a lot of just like lending. Yeah, I'm giving a little bit to it, but I think that it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can think of, because it's obviously way more tattered and down to raw metal. When we
I don't
see
feel
it
like
the
I
next time.
need an explanation. He survived.
Yeah.
You know.
Let your imagination run with it. You know?
Yeah. We see like the fan arts of him, like the cords are around him and he's trying to get out. Like he got out.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
In time. Before.
In time.
And not with his armor. He got out and he was not clad in his armor, jetpack, nothing.
Yep. Once again, for continuity and canon, this all takes place at 9 ABY. This is when he comes across Finnick in the Dune Sea on Tatooine. Vehicle of choice. We already brought this up. We have to talk about the Slave One. It is such a it's a staple of Boba Fett.
Oh my God.
When we hear the tragedy episode, chapter 14, the very first thing is you hear the Slave One.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I remember watching this in my living room going, oh, it's Slave One, and then and it goes across the screen and we got the atmospheric trail behind the Slave One. Like everything about the ship is iconic.
Seismic charge brought back.
Now it's a twisted iced tea that he keeps in there, you know.
Have
you seen that?
My freaking sister got me a twisted tea as one of our anniversary gifts.
That's what
Like
we're
she's
replacing
giving
with.
us our gifts like the week before last for our 16th anniversary, and she's like, "This one is from me," and it's a bag, and I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be a cool bourbon or something." Freaking giant tall boy of twisted tea. It's not as bad as being iced, but
it's up there though. That's what we're gonna replace icings with. You're getting twisted.
I still
and it's
haven't
just gonna
tried
be
it.
an
I've
iced
never
tea.
drank a twisted tea.
I've
It's
never
in
drank
my
one either.
It's in my fridge.
Taking a knee into 19 ounces of twisted tea, like that almost rhymes.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, we
That's the new thing,
Oh
right
no,
there.
no, we gotta get rid of that because otherwise that's gonna start happening.
It's happening. You might be the first victim.
You have to wait till February.
February 1st.
What's up, Travis? Knock on the door.
Hey, you available next week?
Yeah, exactly. Tons of information. We've talked about this in detail at length in other episodes about the Slave One, so we're not going to go heavily into it. You already mentioned there was so much about the Slave One. We got new mechanics. The gyro. This was a new mechanic that we didn't see before. And
We've never seen it. And you see, you're like, oh.
But this is
like,
actually
it makes so much sense.
This is actually corrected. See, in the original visual dictionary guides for the vehicles of Star Wars, there's a cargo hold where things are actually strapped down because it never used to do that. Now, this is in the old visual dictionary. In the new version of the Slave One, now once again, we've talked about this. He's had the Spitfire. These are all Spitfire models. He's had Slave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's I think 7. He's up to 7.
In EU, I don't know what exactly transfers over, but it's
that
not
helps.
a unique ship. Yeah.
It's not. It's just like the Falcon is a YT freighter 1300. We can have the 1400, the 1500. He has other versions of this Spitfire, and we get that new gyro thing. Once again, we have the seismic charges. We have all these things that make the
Great
Slave One.
callback.
Yeah.
Showing love to his daddy.
Was that too much fan service?
Not even at all. Like, to this day, that is still one of my favorite scenes. Like, if I like upgrade something in my sound system, I'm like, seismic charge. Is pod racing scene? Seismic charges. Those are like the two things that I like playing.
And the opera scene in
Fifth Element.
Yeah, those two. But everything about, I would have liked to have seen more combat. I would have liked to have seen a Slave One versus Crest type action.
Like, we got that Arc 170 and the Slave One in the first season, something like that.
Rest in peace, Slave One. Or Razor Crest, man. And our argument. Oh, we can ask him.
Oh, yes.
Okay. This is not the determined. He doesn't. This is not the determined. This is not the.
Are you already doubting what he's going to say?
Yes. This is not.
So we have a
running.
This is a this stander sitter level of argument.
Yeah, this is literally like, this has gone on since episode, literally like 3 of the podcast, where going all the way back to episode 2 of Mandalorian season 1.
Is it A, Razor Crest, as in that the Razor Crest is the name of the style of a ship, like a YT 1300, or is it the Razor Crest, as in there's a ship model and this is its designated name by Mando?
Is the manufacturer Razor Crest, or is the nickname of the ship Razor Crest given to it by Mando?
I think the manufacturer, because I mean, I bought the toy. It's not called the Razor Crest. It's just called Razor Crest.
No, it is not.
It can go either way.
Yeah,
honestly, I think it's both. I use the analogy of Tucker. Like the Tuckers made a vehicle that was called the Tucker, and they went out of business.
I use the analogy of the actual episode where they say M111 Razor Crest stand down, M111 Razor Crest.
They do give a model number, but once again, the Mythrol in season 1, when he brought aboard, he recognized it as a Razor Crest. And
there's so much back and forth.
Yeah, it's not important. We're sad
so
because
the whole
it blew
argument
up.
is it the Razor Crest or a Razor Crest, and it is the Razor Crest.
Well, if he called it the Razor, if he's like that, I can call that. That's my ship. I'm going to call it the Razor Crest. I mean, that's a weird name to call.
But you
it,
don't.
right?
You name a ship, a boat. You name a ship.
Falcon.
You don't call it like this is my Bayliner. No, you say like this is the cutting edge. I don't know, boat name, something.
Boat name, yeah.
Well, usually they're supposed to be female names too. So
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been called the Razor Chest.
Oh, there
the
we
Razor
go.
Chest.
The Razor Chest. Yeah.
Maybe
I'll see
the
myself
one one line just faded off the paint.
Yeah.
I don't like that he didn't agree with me.
Sorry. Miggs Mayfeld. Now, the reason why I'm going to bring Miggs into this, played by Bill Burr. Now, I did not like Bill Burr being in Star Wars. The reason why I did not like Bill Burr is actually on his podcast, he absolutely talked nothing but trash against Star Wars. To collect a paycheck on something that is arguably the biggest pop culture phenomenon in the world, and then to openly bash it, it doesn't sit right with me, but he redeemed himself in this season.
Dude, he made it up.
He did.
The Prisoner, for me, not a
it.
good episode.
Yeah.
I know that a few of our listeners got super pissed off because we had such strong opinions on The Prisoner, and that was their favorite. For me, it was not an interesting episode. It was uneventful, and it didn't lend much to the story.
Yeah.
Which now into the second season, it did lend something to the story because that was our introduction to Miggs.
Yeah.
But he, in this season, like, night and day difference for me.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Appearances. Indirectly mentioned in Chapter 10. His first appearance on screen is Chapter 14, and then once again an indirect mention for Chapter 15. Will we see him again, or is he left on Morak forever?
I think he's a great random bring back in.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's a reference of information, but I think he's a cool, like, reoccurring character. Maybe not, like, massive action character, but
Yeah.
some type of reoccurring.
I don't know. I don't think we will see him again.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of like a one and done.
He packed his cat in a cat pack.
I think he's done in as far as the Mandalorian.
I was super upset because going into episode 14, chapter 13, we get this explanation that, Din goes to Navarro. He talks to Kara. He's like, look up this guy. I know that he can get me where I need to get it. And I literally said in our Discord, I'm like, if we get a full Miggs episode, I'm going to be so pissed. Like, I don't need any more Miggs. Like, this is going to be a waste of time. And it's exactly what we got. But luckily, we had some really crazy...
He lost his shoulder gun.
But we got a lot of... we got some really good acting. Like, Bill Burr knocked it.
Yeah, some of the best acting. The dialogue scene when they're in that...
In the cantina. The mess hall.
The mess hall, the cafeteria, whatever you want to call that. Like, him and that officer, like... That was some of the best acting of the entire season, I felt like.
Where have I seen that officer before, though?
He's been in a ton.
He was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff.
He plays at like kind of almost like a Rob
Evil,
Zombie
creepy,
role or something like that. I feel like I've seen him in one of those like
he's in
horror movies.
He looks like a young child, old man.
He voice acts. He voice acts and he acts. He's in a ton of stuff. So you're hearing him and seeing him.
Like, you went to school with that kid, and you're like, that kid's weird. And, like, there he is.
Miggs Mayfeld was a human mercenary who is a former sharpshooter to the Imperial military. During the time of the New Republic, Mayfeld was recruited by the criminal syndicate known as Malk to lead the team of the rescue of the prisoner, which we saw in the season events of Chapter 5 and Season 1. He was then captured by the New Republic and put in a correctional facility. Then he was, of course, broken out by Mando and his team. We do see his skills at the end of the episode. Well, during the episode, he's able to drive that transport, which I'm assuming not everybody can drive that transport.
Yes, I imagine, like, heavy machinery.
Yeah. But him hitting that shot at the end with his cycle rifle, because he makes a... Doesn't he call Mando jackass? Yeah, he goes, I wasn't a stormtrooper, jackass. So, like, Remember, because he tells him in Guns and in the Prisoner
because
episode.
you can hit something. Yeah.
Yeah, he says he's a sharpshooter for the Empire, and Din says, well, that's not saying much, and he brings a lot of humanity, which that's been one of my favorite things about Mandalorian, especially the scenes
when they were like, even before we get to the cafeteria scene, when they're in
driving.
the tank, when they're in that tank, and the dialogue between the two of them, and he's making Mando think about everything. Like he's like bringing points and like seeing the opposite side of the coin, but making so much sense.
Yeah,
that even Mando's like kind of like didn't have a response back to him.
So much movie making and TV making and art obviously has a play on the times around, and the points that Bill Burr is bringing up, like poking fun at like his religious beliefs, like all these things, they're kind of like political beliefs. They're like of this time almost. Like it kind of brought back to the hearken of like good guy, bad guy. It's just a point of view. There's going to be people on either side. Just the whole episode with him,
similar to oh my god, not The Last Jedi, where they have Benicio del Toro.
Yes.
And they have the arms dealer, and like, oh, you think he's a bad guy because he's selling TIE fighter holograms? Like,
yep.
He's also selling X-Wing fighters. Like,
exactly.
There's money to be made. There's a good guy. There's a bad guy. It all depends on your point of view.
You blow them up one day, they blow you up the next.
You're really good with the impressions, man.
A lot of people hate his character, and
you're 3 for 3, by the way.
3 for 3. Hey, I'll take it. I had to be on tonight. Listen, we got to bring the good show. Bill Burr, if you would have asked me season 1, hated it. Season 2, 10 out of 10. I think he killed it. I would have liked to have seen more. I was actually upset that he was just left on Morak. I would have liked to have seen him
Look at the difference
continue.
between Kara and Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Like Gina and Bill Burr, I should say.
Yeah.
Like they like flipped completely. Like Gina was so likable.
Yeah.
She didn't have a lot to like say like, oh, she's a great actress. But like Bill Burr for me was so unlikable in The Prisoner versus this episode. Like it's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring those two guys back up again, Kara and Bill Burr, because I mean, you never know. I think you might actually get possibly Bill Burr actually show up maybe in the Ranger series.
That's
because
a good idea.
he calls upon she calls upon him.
Yeah,
for
she
some sort of
cut him a
assistance.
deal.
Exactly. So we might see. I think that might be where you might see him again.
That's a lot more feasible than the Mandalorian actually.
And to kind of like some of these people that we've talked about, it's character building, it's world building.
Exactly.
They can be expansive, and I like that. Final thoughts on Migs before we wrap it up. 10 out of 10 for me for season 2.
I don't know if I'm gonna give him 10. I'm gonna give him an 8.
Yeah, I agree. About an 8.
8.
He redeemed himself.
First season was so low. This season was very high. I give him an 8.
You know what? I'm gonna agree. I got to bring that average down. 8 out of 10. Yeah, because season 1, we'll talk about this as a whole. Bo-Katan. Now, Travis, have you watched?
Wait, who? Okay, it's him.
Okay. Have you watched Clone Wars and/or Rebels?
I've started watching Rebels.
Okay,
but I haven't. I guess I should probably go back, and I've only just gotten like the Disney Plus.
You have Disney Plus, obviously.
Yeah.
There is a playlist of the 20 essential episodes for Clone Wars. Watch that. There's a lot of information that is important, not necessary. It's hard to say important and then it's not necessary.
Depends how much time you have.
Depends on how much time you have.
Yeah.
Clone Wars is a lot harder to watch. You can watch the 20 essential episodes, then watch season 7.
Clone Wars is not chronological. It doesn't have a start and a finish.
Yeah, it jumps around.
You start and it's like here,
yeah.
here. Well, if you watch it as a whole, it's great. Watch the essentials.
Rebels watch as a whole. The reason why I ask is because Bo, that's where she made her biggest appearance. That's where we learn more about her, way more than we do in Mandalorian. Played by Katie Sackhoff, which is in fact the voice actress and the now live action, which was... She looks just like her. Like, super excited to see.
It was like the voice was modeled after the voice actress.
And
like
exactly.
The yeah.
And Starbuck. I loved her in Battlestar Galactica.
Yep.
Like, everything about Katie Sackhoff. She's such a cool person. I follow her on Instagram. I liked her. Her appearances as Bo-Katan are in Chapter 11, which is her first live-action appearance, by mention in Chapter 13, and then again we see her in Chapter 16.
Where does this episode rate for you on this season?
Her episode, Chapter 11, is my number 1.
Okay.
That's my favorite episode of the season. You know me, I'm a Mando fan. So to see her and her Mandalorians, to see Casca Reeves and Axe Woves and her...
It's my number 4.
Number 4?
Mm-hmm.
You're off the podcast.
No. Okay, my first... we can do this later.
Yeah.
They're all very high.
Yeah.
But it was my number 4 after rewatching.
There's so much about her, and I have so much.
What happened to Axe Wolves?
I don't know. He was in the bathroom. He came out and they were like, he's big deuce. He's just
big soup dump from that weird
seafood that they ate back on. Yeah. Tons of information for Bo. I'm not going to get into all this because of time.
One of my favorite of the entire season scenes, I always use the term in our show as like some of my favorite poster-worthy shots.
Yeah.
The scene of the 4 of them, the 4 Mandalorians on top of the Razor Crest, just posted up and lounging and talking about their plan. Like nobody's made it a poster yet that I've been able to find.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to ask Liz to paint it because it's one of my favorite pictures. Like the purple and blue sky in the background, the silhouette of the Razor Crest, and we got the 4 Mandalorians just like posted up, lounging on the background. It's the most beautiful shot. That specific scene is perfect. It's like Star Wars in a like window.
There's so much that's important that you'll learn in Rebels and Clone Wars about the character and why she's important to the story in regards to the Darksaber. In 2 BBY, Clan Ren is recognized as showing resistance to the Empire. At this time, the Empire has taken control of Mandalore. Because of that, Gar Saxon is defeated in a duel by Sabine Wren. Sorry, spoiler alerts for Rebels. She is then the rightful heir to the Darksaber. She then gives the Darksaber through the right to rule to Bo-Katan, who is the sister.
Technically, she finds the Darksaber before that.
She finds it, but she wins it. Anyway, she has it, and then she gives it to Bo. Bo has it. We don't know the story of how Bo loses it and where the other Mandalorian clans are. Because there's a scene in Rebels where not 1, not 2, but 6 Mandalorian clans all come together and pledge their loyalty to Clan Kryze, which is Bo-Katan of Clan Kryze. Okay. And she is a former lieutenant in Death Watch, which is a syndicate that Mando actually ends up being a part of.
Air quote, the Watch.
The Watch.
Which we don't know if it's separate, if it's a weird splinter or what that
basically
is.
In the Old Republic, the Mandalorians were known for conquering other planets. The Sith Empire joins Mandalore. They almost conquer the entire galaxy. They're beaten back by the Jedi and the fallen Jedi Darth Revan. And because of that, they become a pacifist, and basically Mandalorians rise up and say, this isn't our way. We were a warrior race. We're going to become warriors again. And they go to the moon of Mandalore, and they're called Death Watch. That's where she comes from. So that's where we get these personality traits such as hardened, ruthless, effective. Everything that she is Death Watch. It's not the new Mandalorian. I mean, so much about her I really, really liked. Still, I would like some more information as far as like what's going to happen with her. And
I liked whenever she's referred, she's like, "Oh, you're one of those." Eye roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, she knew exactly who Din was. Dodo Din, and his like, take my helmet off.
Yeah,
like everything. Like she's like, Jesus, we're gonna deal with one of these guys again. Like, okay, guy. Like, here we go. Like she had like everything. Like she like knew what she was dealing with. Din, he's doing his thing. He thinks that he's like, no, we're the only Mandalorians.
Yeah. You are not Mandalorian.
I was like, yeah. Where'd you get that armor?
Yeah. She's like, this has been in my family for 6 generations.
Like, I'm actually a Mandalorian. I was born on Mandalore.
I was born on Mandalore. Yeah.
So where are you from?
So much
I was
about
saved as a baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's completely BA. I think she's the strongest female fighter in the entire show.
Yeah.
I like how you'll see a lot of this in Rebels, how they use their jetpack in combat, especially with the fight between Asuka and Boba in the Cantina, where she literally uses
awesome
it.
Scene.
Yeah, like WWE, she's using all that stuff. But like they use there's so much about how they know the Rising Phoenix, right? They know how to use their jetpacks.
The spitting spiral kicks and the
all of
dual
it.
wielding.
So her dual wielding pistols, this is actually super important. So the cartridges and the charge things for blasters in Star Wars, yellow. Mandalorians are known for yellow. This is a special type of gas. It's actually a very high condensed gas, it makes their blaster shots more powerful. So you'll see Rebels and the Empire, they're known for red because it's plentiful, it's all over. It's basically the 9mm.
Yeah, I say 9mm versus shooting 45.
Yeah,
Like,
she's packing 45s. Her dual wield pistols. This is under her skills and abilities. She is using dual wield West Star 35 blasters. So, I mean, they're super cool. We were talking about 3D printing earlier. It's actually the base of 1911s, which are known for the 1911 45. That's the base of the grips is their 1911. So it is 45. It's just super cool. Everything about her. Mandalorians are they're my favorite. I really appreciated her character. As far as more to talk about, I mean, she didn't have a ton of dialogue. I guess we see.
I think it was a little, for me, it was a little bit, the last episode was a little like, what? Because of her reaction and the whole, well, I can't take the Darksaber.
Yeah.
And to somebody who's watched all the canon Star Wars, like, you literally just took the Darksaber. That was the last time you had the Darksaber is when somebody gave it to you, which you did not win.
Yeah.
So the way that you're like, well, I can't accept this. I'm like, this is literally what you just did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you did. That was the only weird thing for me.
I mean, I love the character. Being a novice, and as far as not knowing enough about her, I wanted to know more. I knew there was just this not illusion, but just this mystique about her that I yearned to learn more about her.
Yeah,
the entire squad that she was with.
So did you know she's a pre-existing character?
I did. Yeah, I mean, I kind of dipped my toes and tried to like, well, who's this? You know, just my quick Wikipedia. I'm like, oh, she's in the animated series and stuff like that, and then it's on a bucket list, you know, to try and tackle some of this stuff. It's just finding time these days.
It took me a long time to get through the cartoon stuff, honestly, because I would, especially before Disney Plus, because I would watch the first 2 seasons of Rebels, where it was like $15 by the season, $15 by the season, $40 for the season, and I'm like, nah, I'm out. I'm buying season 3 for $40.
Yeah,
it took literally like Disney Plus for me to power through the last 2 because of that reason.
Both Clone Wars and Rebels are very Mandalorian culture centric. Like if I was to break down Star Wars, I would literally say the Sith, the Jedi, and Mandalorians. Because once again, even back in the Old Republic, Mandalore teams up with the Sith Empire. They're crucial to the beginnings of the Star Wars story, which is EU now. But anyway, I really liked the character. For me, she's a 10 out of 10. I screamed when she came on screen. I mean, Din, that whole episode I liked with being on the planet.
Sasha and her little hairband. Okay,
dude, Sasha.
Let's
Banks
go, Sasha.
Listen. She knocked Kara right off the list.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. She was awesome.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. Very good looking girl.
Braid.
Yeah. The hair. Yeah. The X that she had. Even Axe Wolves. Save Axe Wolves.
Shout out to Axel.
Where did he go? He's in the bathroom. As far as more to say about I hope that we see more. And I liked Katie Satkoff's attitude so much that her presence on Twitter and everything. She's a huge Star Wars fan. I enjoyed her.
I like her bringing her dad on set and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've been waiting to watch the Gallery season 2 because I don't want to watch episode by episode. I want to chain watch through them.
I watched the first one and that was great, and exact same reason. I'm like, I gotta wait for the rest because I want more.
I want to binge it. Yeah, I want to binge it. I hope that we see more of her. I have no doubts that she's in season 3.
She's going to either be in season 3 or she's going to be in every other. Like, she's definitely a character that's going to be in all of
you'll find out
future Star Wars Disney Plus.
Her and Ahsoka are like this.
Yeah.
Especially when you get to Clone Wars. Actually, you could just literally go to Clone Wars season 7. It's definitely worth your time. I can't wait. She's not. We're not gone with her. Speaking of
Ahsoka.
Now this one might take some time, so we're gonna power through this one. Ahsoka. Appearances is chapter 11 mention only. Of course, chapter 13, the Jedi. Her main episode. Did we expect to see her just right off the rip? Like, I mean, literally the episode starts with two white lightsabers.
Because of the way that season was running, there was a little shadow in me saying, like, you're going to see her right away.
Yeah.
But the realist in me was like, nah, there's no way they're going to hold it.
And then it happens.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave.
This is how we're doing it. All right. All right. Just and the sounds of the saber. Once again, Rebels, you'll get through it. I mean, and through Clone Wars, you see her, you know, she's the Padawan of Anakin.
Yeah.
She goes through a lot in the Clone Wars and a lot in Rebels. And to see we're still fuzzy on the timeline of where she is to the prelude of Rebels, because there's a prelude scene in Rebels. We don't know exactly where this timeline fits in. Played by Rosario Dawson. How perfect was this casting? A lot of people talked about other names. It was the rumor right off the rip.
Oh yeah, it's been a rumor for years of Rosario wanting to portray this as live action.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's actually a picture of Rosario with Hayden Christensen because she went to an acting class and Hayden was there.
As like teens.
Yeah, as teens, and they're hugging each other, and it's freaking a Snips and Anakin. Like, it's crazy. Like, they had no idea that they would both end up being, together. And then, of course, in chapter 14 is her mention. Now, let's just get into talking about Ahsoka, and then I'm going to read some of the information I have about Ahsoka. The only complaint I have is we did not get enough Ahsoka. That's it.
Mm-hmm. But she's going to have her own show, so it's more like an introductory to the casual fan who likes Star Wars, that did not watch any of the animated stuff, did not read any books or any comics. Yeah. This is a great way to introduce the character, and they realistically don't have any idea of the depth and the connection with Anakin that now can be explored in the new show, which is going to be amazing. Yeah. And I can't wait to see what they end up doing with the story.
Do you think they're going to, so with the Ahsoka show, that's hard to say.
Yeah.
Ahsoka show.
Do you think they're going to, is that going to be prior to The Mandalorian? Or do you think it's going to take place after this? And
so I'm hoping it has flashbacks and
kind of jumps back and forth,
because the whole thing,
there's a lot of story and there's a lot of ground to cover.
A lot.
Without ruining Rebels, at the end of it, Thrawn.
We're gonna ruin it because there's a whole section.
I think I may have seen. I jumped ahead and
so basically
I saw some of the.
This doesn't ruin it because you know who these characters are. Thrawn, Ezra disappear. We won't say how. They disappear into like a
time travel.
Yes, they disappear into a time warp situation. Ahsoka and Sabine take off onto a quest to find Ezra and Thrawn.
Here's this weird thing. All right, so I do know a little bit of the canon, but not a ton. So maybe you could shoot this down. So I was told that The Mandalorian is actually set in an alternate universe to what's going on.
That's
in that
a theory.
Stuff.
Yeah,
so that's why Bo-Katan didn't. Not Bo-Katan. That's why I'm losing my mind. Cara. That's why Cara didn't understand the whole.
I'm following what you're saying.
The whole rebel, the whole light.
It's opened up in Rebels because there's a specific thing that you can.
We won't. I don't want to ruin that at all.
Well, we can say this, and it doesn't. It really doesn't ruin it. Because it's closed. It's closed. It'll never happen again. Mm-hmm. The time travel is introduced for the first time in Star Wars Rebels, and via that, this is why we are not canonically explained as to where this timeline is. There were practical effects as to why her Montrails were so short. And there's also now a canonical reasoning as to when her Montrails are so long in Rebels is this could have been taking place before
final ending scene of Rebels.
Yeah, there's a final ending scene in Rebels, and we don't understand why. But you are explained to this in the show. She goes to the magistrate. Where is Thrawn? Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Yeah.
Her search for Thrawn. So the part of where Ahsoka is now joining Team Mandalorian is unexpectedly, she is, well, I don't want to say this. I don't want to ruin this for him for Rebels, so I'm not going to say that. Basically, decades after her search began, we also hear Ahsoka again. Now, this is in Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Her voice is heard by Rey in the ending scene of the movie. There's speculation as to, is she dead? Is she still alive? We don't really know.
I assumed she was dead. I assumed these are all fallen Jedi through the Force talking to her.
That's what I had read, too.
And I don't want to ruin Rebels for you because Rebels is very enjoyable. Rebels is actually one of my favorite bits of like Star Wars canon. But the search for Thrawn, around 9 ABY, Tano has begun her search for Thrawn. We know this to be canon because of the explanation through Chapter 13, The Jedi. She asks the magistrate, where is your master, Grand Admiral Thrawn?
They are saying begun. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Well, think of who's not with her. Sabine is not with her.
But, yeah.
She has also splintered from Bo-Katan, which she's with Bo in Season 7 of Clone Wars.
But Thrawn has been around, and she's been in contact and familiar with him for a long time.
Ahsoka plays a ginormous role in the Rebel Alliance. She plays a role known as Fulcrum, where she gives information to the new Empire, to factions of rebels before they're actually all combined. They're just splinter cells. And she sends them radio information to point them to depots and all these things to hit like these important targets, and that's her role. She's actually a big role in bringing everybody together, and she takes a special look and a keen interest on Phoenix Squadron, which is the squadron that you follow in Rebels, which is Kanan, Hera, Ezra, Sabine, and Zeb, and Chopper. Those are the main people, because Kanan is a survivor of Order 66, and so is Ahsoka. So much about this is, once again, this is the canon date of her search for Thrawn. So this is 9 ABY. A ton to go into this. I mean, we've already speculated about
There's a lot
the
of
Ahsoka show.
possibilities.
The last thing that I'll talk about,
We know we have a whole show, so
we
it's
have a
going to
whole
be
show.
delved into.
But this is something that I told you about earlier that I didn't actually know. This is a legacy point for Ahsoka. At some point, the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, son of Tano's master Anakin Skywalker, became aware of Ahsoka, the Force user, and chronicled her in his personal journal during his exile on the planet Ahch-To. Following the Battle of Crate, which is seen in The Last Jedi in 34 ABY, Tano is mentioned in the Galactic Explorer's Guide. This is a book that was written by her old enemy and at sometimes ally, Hondo Anaka. The book is recorded that Master Luminara had taken and mentored Tano at a certain point in time. During the Battle of Exegol in 35 ABY, the Jedi Rey is in a moment of tranquility when she hears the voice of Ahsoka Tano. The Jedi spirits gave words of encouragement to allow Rey to defeat the ultimate and return of Darth Sidious.
So what's cool about this is
Luke knew of Ahsoka.
the old tree that Yoda literally strikes with lightning and burns all the crap up.
Yeah.
Luke had learned about Ahsoka at that point and had been writing about her in those page turners. They are not.
They
Yeah.
were not. Yeah.
That's my Yoda impression.
My
See,
Yoda
I don't get it. I
impression.
don't like. Hey, that's a good impression from him.
Sorry, I tried to overpower it a little bit from
All,
you.
all I heard was the perfection coming from Connor.
God dang
and
it.
I was drowned out by this
Horrible impersonation.
horrible crypt keeper.
I talked
voice.
a lot. You guys talk about Ahsoka. I loved Ahsoka. I don't think it could have been any better, other than her Montrails could have been longer. That's
I
it.
loved the savageness that she had.
Yes.
Like, from the dark, lightsabers ignited, no holds bar, like,
Yeah.
dead, like, didn't care. Like,
Yeah.
she did not, as they say in Rebels, or at the end of Clone Wars, I'm a civilian.
Yeah.
Like, she was not a Jedi.
She was not.
She was not like I will, like, do everything I can to not kill somebody. She's like, no, I'm going to rescue this town.
Yeah.
Didn't give a crap.
Yep.
And I also like that in that the whole fight scene at the end too. The
With her and the magistrate.
Yeah, the magistrate. I like the old man. What was his name? He was the guy that was like the huge Disney executive that was like the creative director for Disney. Like,
You mean the one that was fighting Din?
No, he was the old guy, like the
Oh,
townsperson.
yeah.
The
The
townsperson.
Asian guy. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
That
when he
he-
keeps on telling him to be quiet. or
Yes,
whatever.
yes, exactly.
So that guy was like literally like from the early 70s, a creative director for Disney, like been here from the
Yeah,
beginning.
he was a big wig.
I love that when they kind of like
Yes.
like
somebody.
cast himself in this
Yeah.
role,
Yeah.
like wanted to be part of Star Wars. That's one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah.
I love that episode. I mean, it had. I'm a huge fan of Kung Fu flicks. And
That's my
old
number 2
samurai flicks.
episode.
So yeah, I would say that's probably one of my number 2.
For season 2, that's my second favorite.
For
episode.
season 2, it's my number 2. There was so much that was Last Samurai, so much that was everything about it was samurai.
the showdown, like the cowboy showdown outside and
Yeah.
the samurai showdown inside the walls between Ahsoka and between Din and the guard guy.
The Tombstone references.
Yes.
Huge Tombstone reference. Everything. It was samurai and cowboy. The entire thing. A Jedi and a Mandalorian. They'll never see it coming. That was literally the theme of the whole episode. I think Rosario Dawson killed it. I think that it's clear, and you'll see once you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, that she really studied how Ashley, the voice actor of Ahsoka, emphasizes words.
Oh,
How
yeah,
she
like her cadence and her sense stress and how she says things was spot on.
It's uncanny, and I would love to hear an explanation as to how much time she spent to understand.
So you haven't seen the gallery yet?
No, is there an? Like I said, we're both waiting.
Yeah, there's an explanation. They actually give her a huge nod to how much time she put in and how much the martial arts work, everything like that. She took it so seriously.
Yeah. Her mannerisms of like the head nods and tilts as she was talking.
The smirks.
Ahsoka is very much a prodigy of her upbringing, which is due to Anakin, and Anakin is arrogant and powerful and all these things, and
her slight rebellious tendencies were all Anakin's influence.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm excited. I'm super excited to watch Gallery. I wanted them all to be complete before we binged it, so that was
first episode covers a lot.
Yeah, does it? Yeah, it's. I really enjoyed the character. I cannot wait for the Ahsoka show, and we don't have to go into the Ahsoka. We've talked about that already. Can't wait. Grogu.
Not that eventful this season.
You don't think so?
He didn't. He had some great new song.
Yes,
great new song,
dude. We could do a whole episode on Ludwig. Seriously, the music in Mandalorian. Yes,
he had no cool force healing. He had no cool flame stopping moment. He ate some eggs.
His tranquility scene on
but
Tython.
You had so much other stuff. Though. You had Boba.
Exactly.
Bo-Katan. It was almost like if they gave him too much, it would almost been like Withers, whatever his name is.
Grogu.
Gogurt. No,
we call him Gogurt. Din.
Dodo Din.
Just move on.
Okay. Something that's super important. He's in every single episode except 15. He is simply mentioned in chapter 15. Now, training. Approximately 41 BBY during the era of the Galactic Republic, the mysterious alien known as Grogu was raised at the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. He was trained by several masters until the Jedi Order fell. This was something that we learned that was new. We had absolutely no idea. Once again, there's not a ton to talk about with Grogu in the season. He is a baby. He doesn't do anything. We lost his pram, which I was upset about because Quill made that pram, and it was sad to see that go. That was a talking point that I had, that like Quill kind of continued through the show through the pram, and we lost it. We
guessed that he was going to talk this episode, and in a way we came close because Ahsoka was able to communicate with him. But
I'm glad we didn't talk though. Like, I mean, I'll take the grunts and then having
Ahsoka
like a translate for him.
One of the subtitles said "huh."
Okay.
So
the scene where he was like, like sticking the wire into the circuit board.
Oh, dude, yeah.
No, the red one.
Grogu. Grogu.
Huh? Like, he's like, no, not that wire. Put it into the...
Dude,
that was like one of the best scenes.
And we talked about that too. We did see maturity in Baby Yoda, the child. Grogu.
Oh yeah, he was way more cognitive of what was going on around him.
Even in the second episode, the passenger, he comes over to Danny, waddles over, and he's trying to tell him like, "Yo, dude, Frog Lady's leaving," and he's like, "Kid, what are you doing? Like, I'm trying to fix the ship."
All right, I'm going in the hot tub.
Yeah, and you said it. It was like a classic like dad ignoring the kid moment. Yeah. Grogu powers and abilities. Once again, we didn't see a lot of his powers or his abilities in this episode.
We did get to see when he gets captured and he's like straight up like Hulk slamming the stormtroopers into the cell.
True.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt like there was almost a little dark sidey tendency, like scared rage violence, and he almost tried to force choke Gideon, and he just got too tired and
well, didn't Ahsoka mention that though, didn't she? Why she didn't want to train him? There was those fear or
and that's a nod to Anakin.
Yeah,
and to Luke. Skywalker period.
Skywalker's period. It's a nod to this attachment, this fear. He views you as his father. And that attachment, I've seen it happen to the best of us, she says, and that was a reference to Anakin. I was a little upset to not see her do something more with Grogu. Like she, says take the stone. That's all she did. I really think that when Luke shows up in the last episode, I think that Grogu does know R2. I think that R2 is an astromech.
Like the bouncy.
He only does that.
A recognition, yeah.
He only does that when he recognizes people. And R2 would have been the type of astromech to just roam through the Jedi Temple.
Solid R2 sound effects I just did. I was thinking about that.
Hey.
Rainer.
Listen.
Exactly. Dead on. You know what?
Listen, this is the critic.
Rainer.
Once not much more to talk about Grogu. He's the main. Okay, Now that Grogu has gone off with Luke, does the show continue without Grogu, or do we have flashbacks? What is the show without?
Really hoping that Grogu was going to get kidnapped, and season 3 would be like a giant Din trying to get Grogu back.
Maybe even with the help of Luke.
I didn't want Luke to be there.
Yeah, well.
I like the only place I saw it continuing to be interesting is like, okay, Grogu has to get separated, which it did happen, but it wasn't in the interesting way that I thought, like, well, now we can have, instead of protect, it'll be like a save.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going to go, because I can't imagine the show continuing in season 3 without Din and Grogu's relationship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they're going to portray it, like if there's just going to be a time gap and then they're back together.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some type of relationship between the two of them.
There'll be something where, Grogu and insist, or, there's some sort of telecommunication where he'll play a role back in there. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to bring him back, as far as.
There's the meme that's like, oh, you think Grogu's not going to be around? You forget about the most powerful force in the universe. Money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Disney's not leaving Grogu on the table.
Oh, I know. I bought a $400 sideshow.
You have the sideshow one?
I haven't received it yet, but yeah, it's in
Dude,
process.
I want it so... You know what? $20. I'll take it. He's very toyish and kiddish, but I want the sideshow. So that's like one of the one things when I told my wife Natasha like how much it was. She was like, "That's a lot." She's like, "But that's really cool." And I was like, "That's enough."
Yes.
I didn't get the one that's articulating though. It's the head turns and it comes with the knob.
The
it's a
crest.
magnetic.
crest,
Yeah.
Oh,
I watched
nice.
There's
I
another
saw
one that
one-
actually you can actually, the ears are interchangeable. I think as interchangeable eyelids, so you can actually squint or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry.
That's a whole nother thing. We don't have to spend too much. The animatronics.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much behind this character being. There was not a lot. There was only a little bit of CGI Grogu when he was doing the meditation. Everything else is it's a real thing. It's
Yeah.
Dude,
It's a puppet.
There's a great scene, and not to spoil it, but with in the gallery where they have Robert Rodriguez playing a guitar. and
I've
they
seen
have- and
that,
they
like,
have,
floating
little
around.
They have Grogu like kind of like rocking and beating, dancing to
It took him a minute to find the rhythm, and then he's like, he doesn't portray as
That's
you're not
awesome.
watching the video, but
what are they playing under there? Like, he's like okay,
Yeah.
okay, left, two, one, like,
exactly.
squinty eye.
I mean, I need more of this character. I need more of an explanation. Of course, there's the theory that if he goes with Luke, Kylo Ren would kill him at the Jedi Temple. Everything that happens. Hopefully, I don't think that's going to be the case. We're going to get an
We're
explanation.
obviously
as how he's
we're
not
not
there.
going to get
you
a
didn't
scene.
hear the baby grunts when Ray's ear, when
We're obviously not going to get a CG Luke every episode of
Yeah.
the next season. Like, Luke's not going to be like a mainstay of the show.
No.
So there has to be something that happens.
Yeah.
Whether it's like this is not the life for him type of a situation, and he wants to be with you, and he's not a Jedi. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something. That's what my guess is.
Wrapping up this episode, we have to talk about, of course, our boy, the Mando, Din Djarin.
Oh. I realized we hadn't even talked about him.
We have
Okay.
not. I saved him for last. He's in every episode in both, obviously, season 1 and season 2. My favorite. Yeah, he was way more slothy in season 2 than he was in season 1. Although some of my favorite scenes is he's still lethal as ever. I really enjoyed him fighting Moff Gideon. I wish that fight would have lasted a little bit longer. And I also enjoyed him fighting the Dark Troopers. As far as that, once
holy
again,
concussion.
I was like, fighting or just like...
we got to show him the meme of the nobody Dark Troopers, and it's that drunk white guy. So much about Mando in this season. His naivety turned me off to the character this season. Season 1, sure. I feel like we've established enough where he was still too trusting, and he was actually not my favorite part of the season. However, Pedro Pascal killed it, and him taking off his helmets in the moments that he did, especially his scenes with Bill Burr, and then even taking off his helmet in front of Luke at the end, and the facial expressions that he has with Grogu when he's giving Grogu away is like really, really special to me. It's actually, I have that GIF like in my computer. I have a screen in my computer that plays the GIF over and over where he's just taking off his helmet. Like, to see the baby, I
want to see the baby.
Yeah. I mean, Din, his naivety a little bit for the character killed me, but Pedro killed it. Everybody that was in the suit killed it. He's awesome. I like Mandalorians, and I mean, That's all I got to say. He was 9 out of 10 for me this season.
I think this season he learned, not himself as an actor, but him as a character. I think he's going to have learned a lot, because we went from him never taking the helmet off to taking the helmet off multiple times this season.
Yeah.
And being influenced by other Mandalorians, as well as just life situations where like an instance occurs that he needs to take his helmet off.
Yeah.
And he's not so like just blinded by what his culvert has taught him. Like, no, we don't take our helmets off.
Yeah.
Like that, I think he's grown as a character. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, seeing how dodo he is, like, it was a little bit of a turnoff this season, like you were saying. Like, I want to see how this works out into next season, like where he goes as a person, as a character.
I mean, I love the show, love the character.
Yeah.
You're right. I think he did kind of, I wouldn't say dumbed down his character for the second season, but yeah, it didn't. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, honestly. I just completely lost my train of thought there.
I feel like they showed him too many times this season, like being in a situation versus season 1, he's on his own, crushing it.
Yeah.
Season 2, like when you think
he's on his A game, almost like he was concussed and a little confused. Season 2.
When you think you're the best at the game, and then you go from the minor leagues into the major leagues, and you're like, whoa. Like, these guys are playing at a different level. Like, he had too many moments like that this season.
He said that
when he's following the Mandalorians.
And that's exactly.
Bo-Katan, when he's like, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing here. These guys are crazy.
Yeah.
He's like, I know, run.
He was integral to taking down that cruiser in that episode.
God, that was
if
so
he
dumb.
did not sloth run into the blaster fire, they would have all died and jumped into hyperspace.
Guys. Just running with his head down.
Naivety was a problem. However, I liked the relationship between him and Boba. You know, as we said, hey, this is me, Boba Fett. And, like, you know, we get that connection. Losing the Razor Crest was the scene. There's so much. We've talked about this. The acting with the helmet on. I think that they do so well in this show.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people have helmets on. You
Yeah.
don't see them, but you get the expression.
Portraying that emotion without a face.
When he lunges forward and he runs like towards the crest that's blown up, like that's one of my favorite scenes with him too. Is not the crest blowing up, but the reaction of, I'm assuming, is Pedro in the suit.
We have to get another ship the third season. He has to have some transport.
He'll get one of those Mando ships that has the wings that do that. You know,
I'm
it's like a
curious,
scimitar type
I'll be
ship.
so pissed if my Razor Crest that I bought is like literally 2 seasons and like new ship.
New ship, yeah. Well, you get another
HasLab
one.
releases new one.
You get another one.
I'll take it off of you so I could open up one and play with
An
it.
opener and a
yeah, exactly.
It's season
It's
2.
gonna hang from the ceiling right here.
We said it at the beginning. Once again, I think season 1, you said it best, Travis. It's like picking between both your beautiful children. But at the end of the day, one of those beautiful children is more beautifuler than the other. I still think that season 1 has more surprise, more unexpected twists, more turns. I think that they did season 2 very well, that I personally did not feel like it was cameo hour. However, I can see why people would think that. I did not feel that way. I think that all these characters felt very congruent and fit into the story well.
Very well placed.
And, you know, I think that Ezra Bridger would have made a little bit more. Ezra Bridger would have felt better than Luke, but
Or
Luke,
Mace.
or well, no, not for me, but Luke shows up. I hope that we see more Grogu. Season 2 was a crazy ride. I'm glad that we got to cover it the way that we did, and I can't wait for season 3. And hopefully, it's not delayed. That's the new news, is that it's delayed because of Book of Boba Fett. So hopefully, that's not the case.
Well, aren't they calling for it to be December 2022?
Did that? It was supposed to be 2021 because they said that at the investor. Kathleen Kennedy at the investor meeting said that it was 21, but the new rumor is that it's being delayed. Hopefully not. I would much rather Boba season 3 than Book of Boba. But Justin,
I feel I've gone back and forth on this. I feel like season 2 had some stronger episodes that I liked. Like, it started off great, and then it kind of went a little haywire as far as what I wanted.
Yeah.
But if I look back, I think season 2 for me was a better season. But like I said when we first started this, the season finales is where I kind of fell short. Season 1's finale was so awesome and left me like so excited for season 2.
Yeah.
Season 2's finale has not left me like, oh my God, what's going to happen? It kind of left me, I was like, well, that was a weird choice. Like, there was no, like, moment where I'm like, the Darksaber through the TIE fighter and you climb out.
Yeah, it almost ended like it was going to take a little bit longer hiatus.
Yes.
It kind of left you like
Season
almost
finale, not a
series finale, not a season finale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I feel like I think it might actually be pushed back. And yeah, they're going to just fill that time with some of these newer shows. Which at least one newer show. I don't know how many they're going to.
If they did that, it wouldn't be the end of the world. If there was still new Star Wars content and they just took a little bit of a break from The Mandalorian and then jumped into some of that other stuff, and they're going to have crossovers anyway.
There's years gaps with Marvel movies, so they could definitely do this.
As far as like the storyline or actual like real time years gaps.
I would like to see there be actual years gaps.
Yeah,
like between like an Iron Man and an Iron Man 2. But they have like Thor, and then they have
We're gonna revisit other timelines in Star Wars and then come back to Mando.
It's possible.
Mando's been just one of my absolute favorite things in Star Wars. We don't have to rehash the whole thing. I want more. I want the story to continue as soon as possible. I also like the idea of world building other things that Mando can then tie into later, because nobody says that Mando has to die and he's not a part of Star Wars. Nobody says he's not alive during the sequel trilogy, right? Like, we don't know. So
I trust the people in charge.
Exactly.
And this is one of the few instances where the people in charge have proved themselves, and I trust what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I trust that they have an arc formed, that they have a story that they're going to tell that crosses multiple shows. I just want to ride it out. As rural farm boy, one of our listeners said, it's not my story to tell. I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah.
This is one of the few instances where I feel confident trusting in that.
Yeah. Guys, I was your boy. It's Konkon. Thank you to our special guest this week, Travis Butler, for coming and talking Mandalorian Season 2.
He should have given us a toast. We didn't get a toast from Butler.
Those usually aren't PG.
Wait. Go ahead.
Those usually aren't PG.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There we go. We have to keep it family friendly. And, of course, the man sitting across from me, Justin Baker, the man of 1,000 names. Guys, don't forget.
I haven't said my own name.
To check out his Instagram. Okay, send him a DM. Once again, plug yourself.
You can catch me at it's English Tea on Instagram. You can shoot me a DM, $100 each. We got these guys, or catch me on Facebook. And you can also find me on Tom and Dan podcast.
Oh wait, what was that?
What?
Yes, the Tom and Dan podcast. Travis, you're a big deal. Okay. We appreciate you coming on.
You're very welcome. This was awesome. I had a blast.
Yeah.
It's great talking almost 2 hours about a subject that I hold dearly in my heart. I have it inked all over my body.
Hopefully this is just the first of your visits.
Yeah.
Like to think so.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us this week, and we will see you next time.